What's up, everyone? I hope you're having a good day today because today we've got The Thing About Oliver by Deborah Kelly. Chapter 1. It's 4:30 in the morning and Oliver is still screaming. Most 8-year-olds would have run out of steam by now, but not my brother. He's got more energy than a bucket full of electric eels. My ears are ringing. I pull the pillow tightly around my head, but it does nothing to dull the noise. I feel like screaming too, but I know that will only make my headache worse. Instead, I let out a long sigh and roll out of bed. At least it's Saturday, and I don't have to go to school. Last week, we had a maths test, and I fell asleep at my desk. Luckily, Helen had poked me awake before Mr. Lawson noticed. I switched on the light and pulled the Guinness World Records book off my bookshelf. The Guinness World Records is one of my favorite books. Inside it are records of all kinds of stuff, like the world's largest snail, the world's oldest living person, and the world's fastest fish. There are other records for really crazy things too, like the person with the longest tongue or the largest number of people doing the limbo all at once. But there isn't a world record for the world's longest meltdown, or the world's most ear-splitting scream. If there were records for those things, Oliver would definitely smash them. Oliver is good at smashing things. Just about everything in our house has been damaged or broken. Some of our walls even have holes in them. That's why Mum put a lock on my bedroom door, so that my precious things would be safe. I wear the key on a chain around my neck all the time, and only ever take it off to sleep. Oliver's screams have turned into piercing shrieks. I reach across my desk to touch the side of my fish tank. I once saw a cartoon where a lady screamed so loud that the glass in all the windows broke. Thankfully, the aquarium glass seems fine. Phew! I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to my fish tank. I have 12 neon tetras, one for every year of my age. All of them are girls. At least, I think they are. With fish, it can be hard to tell. They spend most of their day hiding in the sunken pirate ship, except when it's feeding time. I also have 4 water snails. They help to keep the tank clean, even though there is a special filter for that. My tank has a lamp, so I can watch my fish swimming about at night, and a heater to keep the water warm, because neon tetras are tropical fish. I'm supposed to check the temperature and the water quality once a day, because if the water gets a tiny bit too hot or cold, or a bit too dirty, or even too clean, my neon tetras could die. I check my tank twice a day, just to be sure. Thump, thump, thump. Oliver is kicking the wall. My fish posters peel off the wall and slides onto the carpet. I reach down to pick it up. Then I hold it against the wall, pushing it hard on the corner so that the blue tack sticks. I got the poster for my birthday last year. It shows all the different kind of fish in the Great Barrier Reef. Under a photo of each fish is its scientific name and also its common name, the name it is best known by. I know the whole poster by heart. You have probably guessed that I like fish, but they aren't just a hobby for me. I'm going to be a famous marine scientist one day. I'll study all kinds of sea creatures, like fish and turtles and whales and corals, and teach people about the oceans and how to protect them. I'm even writing a book about sea creatures. Thud! My fish poster falls off the wall again. But this time, I don't bother to pick it up. It'll only fall down again. I'll wait until later, when Oliver is asleep. I sit down at my desk and open the top drawer. A few months ago, someone gave Mum a hand-cover journal that she never ended up using, so she gave it to me. It's a really pretty color, a greenish blue. It also has a matching strip of ribbon, which you are supposed to use as a bookmark. Mum told me the color was called aqua, so I call it my aqua journal. Aqua is my favorite color now. It reminds me of the sea. The word transform was printed across the cover in fancy lettering. Mum said that transform means to change. I didn't like the lettering, so I covered it up with some stickers I had of fish and turtles. Then I wrote a new title on the front cover. Marine Creatures by Tilly Roberts. I filled almost half of the pages with interesting facts already. Did you know that sea cucumbers breathe in and out of their bottoms? Or that butterfly fish almost always swim in pairs? Or that Queensland's box jellyfish is the most poisonous marine creature in the entire world? Most people have never even heard of the mantis shrimp, but it can throw a punch strong enough to break the glass in an aquarium. I've been drawing pictures to go with each fact too. Right now, I'm working on a picture of a clownfish hiding in a sea anemone. I've only drawn the outline so far, so I start coloring in the tentacles of the sea anemone bright pink. Some people might think sea anemones look like plants, but they're actually animals with stinging tentacles. They never sting the clownfish though. Clownfish and sea anemones have a special agreement. The clownfish chases away other fish that might try to eat the anemone, and in return, the clownfish gets a safe place to live. Both of them need each other to survive. It's called symbiosis. Just when I think Oliver can't possibly scream louder, he does. I can hear Mum running around the house, shutting all the windows. I don't know why she bothers. Even with all of our windows shut, you could hear my brother from Antarctica, and it only makes the house feel hotter. I lean back in my chair and look out the windows. The next door neighbor's lights are on. They have no reason to be up this early. They are old and they don't work anymore. It must be because of Oliver. I wonder if they'll write to our landlord again, complaining about how much noise he makes. I put down the pink-colored pencil and pick up an orange one. I've finished coloring the sea anemone, and now I just need to color in the clownfish. Carefully, I shade in the parts of my clownfish that are supposed to be orange. They look really good against the stripes I've left white. I need a black-colored pencil to do the outlines and around the eye, but it needs to be really fine. I pull my pencil sharpener out of the drawer and turn it until the tip of the pencil is super sharp. It is hard to get it as sharp as I want it without the lead breaking. The first time, it snaps off, but then after a couple of tries, it works. When I am finished, I blow the pencil dust away and hold the drawing out in front of me. It's good, probably one of my best. I'll show to Mum later, when Oliver is asleep. There's another loud thud that makes my whole bedroom shudder. I jump up from my desk and hover by the door. Thump, thump, thump. The water in my fish tank is sloshing about. Oliver must be kicking the wall really hard. Thud, thud. No, he's banging his head against it. Oliver is supposed to wear this padded helmet when he goes into a rage to protect his head. But getting it on him is like trying to get a onesie on an octopus, so most of the time we don't bother. I hope he doesn't make another hole in the wall. I hold my breath. The thumping stops. Now I can hear humming. I let out a long breath. Good. Slowly, I unlock my door. Mum is sitting in the hallway with her arms wrapped tightly around Oliver. She rocks him back and forth gently and hums loudly in his ear. I sink to my knees against the wall and watch them. Oliver isn't kicking or squirming anymore. Mum keeps on squeezing and rocking and humming. After a few moments, Oliver sighs. I feel a little pang of jealousy. I can't remember the last time Mum hugged me like that. Mum softens a grip and starts a gentle drumming beat on his back. His breath becomes slow and steady. Thank goodness he's asleep. Mum looks like she's been in a fight. Her face is pale, and there are dark circles under her eyes. Her hair, which used to be the same color brown as mine, is streaked with gray and stuck to the side of her face. Oliver's is soaked with sweat too, but I can't see his face. It is buried in Mum's chest. I spot a bundle of blue sheets in the hallway outside Oliver's bedroom. Did you change the bed? I whisper. Mum nods. Ollie wets the bed all the time, but that wouldn't have caused the meltdown. You put the soft cotton sheets on, right? Mum hesitates and then shakes her head. You put the polyester sheets on? I can't believe it. No wonder he had a meltdown. Anything different can send Oliver over the edge, including the wrong kind of sheets. Mum knows that. But he has to have the cotton sheets. He always has cotton sheets. Mum closes her eyes. There weren't any clean ones left, Matilda. I stare at her in disbelief. We've been up for hours. My head is killing me. And now the neighbors are going to write another letter to our landlord complaining about how noisy we are. A ball of anger rises in my throat. I get ready to tell Mum that it will be her fault if they do complain. But suddenly, Mum looks so flat. Just like my beach ball last summer, after my brother smashed all the air out of it. And here we are, chapter 2. So just from the first chapter alone, who are the 3 characters that have been introduced, and what is their current situation? Chapter 2. Mum carries Oliver back to bed. I stand up and lock my bedroom door, and then I hang the key around my neck. When I'm a famous marine scientist, I'll live on a boat by myself. I'll snorkel on the reef all day long, and I'll know all the different kinds of fish by their scientific names and their common names. But before I can learn to snorkel, I have to be able to swim properly. And right now, I don't even own a swimsuit. Mum still hasn't taken me for swimming lessons. She did try once, when our town pool was still open, but we only got as far as the front gate. Just as we were paying the entrance fee, Mum got a call from the carer. Ollie had banged his head against the kitchen counter so hard that his forehead had split open. He wasn't wearing his padded helmet. By the time we got home, there was blood everywhere, and the carer was in tears. Later on, at the hospital, Mum vowed she would never, ever leave Ollie with a stranger again. I gather up Oliver's wet pajamas and sheets. No matter how many times I have to do this, I will never, ever get used to the smell. I screw up my face, turn my head away, and hold my arms out in front of me as far as I can. I head for the laundry, being careful not to trip over the toys and clothes that have been flung into the hole. As I open the lid of the washing machine, I think about the cleaner shrimp that spends its whole life cleaning muck from the gills of other fish. Fish from all over the reef will line up and wait to be cleaned, just like cars lining up at a car wash. At least there is only one of Oliver. Oliver's sheets and pajamas fill the machine almost to the top. I pour in a heap of detergent and switch the machine onto the shorter cycle. I wish I could set it to the 2-hour cycle. Oliver likes the noise of the washing machine. The rhythm of it blocks out all the other sounds that bother him. It makes him sleep more deeply and for longer. But a 2-hour cycle would use too much water. We aren't allowed to waste water. We are in the middle of a drought. Our front yard is a dust bowl. There is no water to spare for lawns. There's not even enough water to grow grass for all the cattle and sheep. Most of them have been sold or died. The ones that are left are being fed hay brought into town on the backs of big trucks. Our town had a swimming pool, but now it is even drier than our front yard. For a while, it had a green slimy water. Some kids from the school go into the city every Sunday for swimming lessons. We go into the city on Saturdays too for Oliver's therapy. Once I asked Mum if I could have swimming lessons while we were there. Swimming lessons in the city cost too much money, she told me. Please, Mum, I practically begged her. How am I ever going to be a marine scientist if I don't learn how to swim? But Mum just shook her head. You know how busy Saturdays are already. We have to see the occupational therapist at 11 and the speech therapist after that. A lot of our time is spent taking Oliver to different therapists. He has a speech therapist to help him learn how to talk properly. He has an occupational therapist to help him make his muscles work better, but also to teach him how to do little things that other people find easy, like putting on shoes, holding a pencil, or using a spoon. Oliver also sees a child psychologist to help him learn how to manage his anger. So far, that doesn't seem to be working too well. I might not be able to swim yet, but I can blow bubbles. Helen taught me how to do that. She goes into the city every Saturday with a bunch of other kids from school for swimming lessons, so she would know. Sometimes I fill up the tank in the bathroom and practice my bubbles. mainly so that I don't forget how, but also so that when we do have money for lessons, I won't need many at all. If only it would rain, the town of Pool would fill up again and we wouldn't have to go into the city for swimming lessons. I could learn to swim right here and it wouldn't cost too much money. I could even do chores around the neighborhood to help pay for it. I push Oliver's clothes and toys out of the way so Mum doesn't trip over them. Then I head into the kitchen. There's a big mess on the floor. Oliver has smashed a cup. We keep all our cups up high, out of Oliver's reach. Mum must have accidentally left it on the table before she went to bed. I pull the bin over and start picking up the pieces. Then I notice it's the mug I painted for Mother's Day at school a few years ago. I picked up a fragment decorated with pink and purple butterflies. Then I spot a piece of the handle, which I'd painted to look like a rainbow. Mum had really loved the rainbow handle. A lump rises in my throat, but I swallow it back down again. I finish picking up the larger pieces and drop them into the bin. Then I grab the brush and pen from the cupboard and start sweeping up all the smaller ones. When I am finished, I sit back on my heels and let out a long breath. Then I look up at our empty shelves. On my boat, I'll have nice things all over the place because there will be nobody around to break them. There will be no one to scream and scare the fish away either. I hear a squeal. A small white bottom rushes past and clambers onto the kitchen table. Oliver is all hip bones, spine and ribs. Even his shoulder blades stick out like wings. I sigh and rub the sides of my head like Mum does. Now, I wish I had put the washing machine on the 2-hour cycle. Wasting a little bit of water would have been worth it for a few extra minutes of peace and quiet. Mum must have fallen asleep settling Oliver. I think about waking her, but then I remember the dark circles under her eyes. Where are your pajamas, Ollie? The clean pair Mum put on him earlier has vanished. I'm not surprised. My brother is almost always naked. He doesn't like the feel of clothes on his skin. And I don't just mean the tags. None of Oliver's clothes have tags. We make sure of that. It's the actual fabric that bothers him. And when it comes to the sheets, he can only handle the super soft, worn-out cotton ones. Oliver's occupational therapist, Amanda, explained it to me once. The thing about Oliver is, his skin is so sensitive that even soft fabric can feel like sandpaper. That must be really horrible. No wonder he wants to take his clothes off all the time. Even the bottoms of Oliver's feet are sensitive. That's why he always walks on tiptoe. Oliver being naked is fine on hot days, but it's hard in winter, and it's fine if we're spending the whole day at home, but not on a day like today, when we have to take a trip into the city. Oliver doesn't hear me. He doesn't even look at me. He's bouncing on tiptoe on the kitchen table. He shrieks, flapping his hands up and down like a bird about to take off. Oliver flaps when he is excited and when he is anxious. But I know how to tell the difference, and this is happy flapping. I check the clock, 7:14 a.m. I don't know how my brother knows that it's rubbish collection day. He doesn't even know the days of the week or how to tell the time by looking at a clock. But every Saturday morning, he starts with his flapping and bouncing long before Mum or I hear the first rumbles. It's as if he has some kind of alarm clock inside his head that tells him it's rubbish day, like a bird who knows that it's time to migrate. I wish he would take a good look at that internal clock when he feels like screaming at 4 a.m. Soon, I hear a distant rumbling. I know all the sounds of the rubbish truck by heart. So does Oliver. I think that's why he likes it. Amanda says that for Oliver, the world is a very confusing place. Anything that behaves in a predictable way, like lights that flick on and off, the ring of a doorbell over and over, or the noise of a toilet flushing, is comforting to him. Whenever we go to someplace new, one of the first things he wants to do is check out the toilet. It's kind of the same with the rubbish truck. It comes on the same day each week at exactly the same time. Ollie knows it will make a loud rumble as it turns into our street. He knows the screech of its brakes as it grinds to a halt. The clunk, clunk, clunk of the bins being lifted and emptied, and the shh as they are put back on the curb. The rubbish truck has screeched to a halt right outside our place. Oliver is craning his neck because our fence is really high. That's why we rented this place. The fence has to be high enough so Oliver can't climb over it. And the gate has a lock on it too. Most people have locks to keep other people out. Ours is to keep Oliver in. The thing about Oliver is, he doesn't understand that it isn't safe to wander the streets on his own. He doesn't know that he might get hit by a car or taken away by a stranger. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Our bin is lifted up and emptied. Oliver isn't happy flapping or even bouncing anymore. His face is pale and smooth. His blonde hair curls up at the edges. His eyes are like deep pools of blue, so deep you could never touch the bottom. Shh. Our bin lands back on the curb. Oliver stands perfectly still watching, and just for a moment, he looks like any other 8-year-old boy. And that is chapter 2. So what have we learnt in this chapter? We found out that Matilda wants to be a marine scientist, and we also found out some reasons as to why Oliver behaves the way he does. Could you name some of those reasons why? Yep, so some of those reasons are he has sensitive skin, making it feel like sandpaper whenever he puts on clothes. We also find out that the world is a very confusing place for him, so anything that is unpredictable he doesn't like. However, anything that is predictable, like the garbage truck, he finds very enjoyable. Also that he likes the sound of the washing machine. Alright, chapter 3. I want a Vegemite on toast for breakfast. But now that Oliver is awake, there's no way that is going to happen. Certain smells like Vegemite really send him over the edge. I settle for cereal instead. I head to the fridge for milk and stop to look at a photo Mom has stuck high out of Oliver's reach. I hadn't known Mom was going to take my picture at any time, so I looked surprised. I'm standing at the kitchen sink, and Oliver is crouched on the counter next to me, our hands in the water. Mom's timing was perfect. Normally, it's impossible to get a good picture of Oliver because he's always moving and never looks at the camera. But in this one, you can see his whole face. It's the best photo Mom's ever taken of us together. The rubbish truck has rumbled away up the street. Oliver clambers down from the table, making truck noises, over and over again. He darts across the room, and soon the lights are flickering on and off, on and off. Not good for my headache. I dump some yogurt into his bowl. Oliver is very small for his age, probably because he doesn't eat much. As well as being sensitive to smells, he's also very sensitive to tastes and textures. He will only eat food that is bland and smooth like yogurt, or mashed banana. Actually, yogurt and mashed banana are pretty much all he eats. Because we go through so many bananas, Mom calls Oliver her little monkey. The yogurt container has a picture on the front of a dancing fish wearing a hat made of fruit. There is a speech bubble coming out of its mouth that says, "Fortified with omega-3." Mom is always trying to get more nutrients into Oliver. He used to eat mashed avocado too, but one time, Mom sneaked some vitamin powder into it and he picked it up right away. Now he won't touch avocado. I wonder if he'll notice the omega-3 in his yogurt. I turn to him and speak loudly and clearly. "Yogurt, Ollie. Eat your yogurt now." Oliver doesn't look up or turn his head. He never does when we call his name, but we still use it a lot. I guess we are hoping that one day he might. Before, when we wanted to get his attention, we would touch his face gently and turn his chin towards us. But Amanda told us we shouldn't force him to make eye contact. It is painful for him to do that. I put on his non-slip bowl down on the table. Then I pull out his chair so it scrapes along the floor, making the sound that Oliver has come to know. Oliver clambers onto the chair and starts scooping up yogurt with his hands. The omega-3 doesn't seem to be bothering him. "Wait!" I pick up the spoon and put it in his hand. I hold my hand over his to guide him, but he shakes it off and flings the spoon away. I give up and I let him shovel the yogurt with his hands. At least he's eating. We don't really know how much of Oliver understands about the world around him. Mom says that as a baby, Oliver was very different to me. He wouldn't sleep during the day and cried all night. The only thing that would calm him down was the car. Mum says she used to drive us around for hours. When he was a toddler, she took him up to the playgroup. That's when Mum realized just how different he was. Oliver didn't play like the other kids. He didn't seem to even notice them or their toys. And when Mum pointed at something interesting, or other parents waved at him or tried to play peekaboo, he just stared right through them. All he wanted to do was watch the ceiling fan whirling around. At preschool, a teacher pulled Mum aside and asked if he talked much at home. When Mum admitted that he hadn't said any words yet, the teacher suggested getting him assessed for autism. It turned out the teacher was right. Oliver's autism means that he sees the world very differently. It is hard for him to connect to other people. And all of his senses are a lot sharper than ours, which makes him super sensitive to his environment. He's also non-verbal, which means that he can't talk, but he has learned to understand some important words, like eat, water, yes, no, and toilet. He can even sign some of them. Mostly, though, he just makes sounds. Oliver's speech therapist, Matthew, says that he is much more likely to attempt speech himself if he hears familiar words often. Yogurt, yogurt, I repeat as it flies around the kitchen. Oliver climbs down, and before I can stop him, he runs to the kitchen sink and turns on the tap full blast. He brings his fingers to his lips and flexes them. Water, he signs. That's the one thing Oliver and I have in common. We both love water. Okay, as long as you're quiet. He bounces up and down, flapping with excitement. While I take the plug off a high shelf and put it in the hole, Oliver still doesn't really play. Not like the other kids do. He has toys, but he mostly ignores them or throws them around when he is upset. He likes to spin the wheels of his cars over and over again. Sometimes he lines them up in neat rows and gets upset if anyone moves them. But I've never seen him play an actual game with them. He has never pushed them along the floor making boom boom noises or made them crash into each other like other 8-year-old boys do. While the sink fills, I think about my clownfish drawing. I decide to show Mum as soon as she wakes up. I'd better wake her soon. It's going to take us almost 3 hours to drive to the city. Sometimes it can take us that long just to get Oliver ready to leave. Oliver lets out a high-pitched shriek. Okay, I'm going as fast as I can. I turn the tap on harder until the sink is half full. Oliver clambers up onto the counter and plunges his hands into the sink. I lower my hands into the water too, letting the coolness wash over them. Oliver's hands fidget and jerk. Water is going everywhere. I trail my fingertips back and forth across the surface of the water. Oliver's hands slow and then stop. A faraway look comes into his eyes. The water settles, and soon there is only a gentle lapping sound. I know why water is so calming for Oliver. It's calming for me too. I don't want to break the spell, but I know I have to start getting ready. I pull my hands out reluctantly, pat them dry on my pajamas, and head for the bathroom. After I brush my teeth, I reach to the top of the shower frame and find the plug. I fill the sink so it's deep enough to cover my face. Then, I take a deep breath, close my eyes, and lower my face into the cold water. I blow bubbles until I run out of air. Then I turn my head to one side and take a breath, like Helen showed me. When I'm done, I unplug the sink, and I'm careful to hide the plug up high again, out of Oliver's reach. We don't want another flood. Before I go to my bedroom, I peek into the kitchen to check on Oliver. Good. He hasn't moved an inch. He looks like one of those statues you see on water fountains in the garden center, only skinnier. In my bedroom, I put on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Then I lift the lid of my fish tank and scoop up a sample of water. A few drops of testing solution, and yes! The water is perfectly in balance. I check the temperature. It's perfect too. I open a small jar of fish food and sprinkle some flakes onto the surface of the water. 12 neon tetras zip out of the pirate ship and gobble up the flakes before they even have a chance to hit the bottom of the tank. Neon tetras must hold a record for the world's greediest fish. They even eat their own young. I replace the lid and pick up my fish poster off the floor. I blue tack it on the wall again and take a step back. I squint so I can still see the fish, but the letters underneath become blurry. That way, it's impossible for me to cheat. Ballastoids conspicuum, clown triggerfish, centropyge bicolor, bicolored angelfish, Scarus coraleus, blue parrotfish. I make it to the end of the poster without a single mistake. Then I pick up my aqua journal and flip it back through all my drawings. Maybe I should draw a parrotfish next. Parrotfish are really cool. At the night, they spin a sack made of spit all around their body, kind of like a sleeping bag, so that the predators can't smell them. That way, they don't become someone else's dinner. There are shrieks coming from the kitchen. I jump up quickly, but then I hear Mum's voice. She must be trying to get Oliver dressed. After all, you can't go to the city in the nude, can you? When we arrive in the city, we will go straight to OT. Then after our late lunch, Oliver will have speech therapy. By the time we all do that and drive home, Saturday will be pretty much over. At OT, Oliver gets to play on ropes and swings and with balls and huge cushions. I have to sit in the waiting room with Mum, usually for an hour, sometimes longer. A few times we have been outside for a walk together, but that doesn't happen often. Mostly Mum wants to stay in the waiting room, especially when Oliver has been difficult. She pretends to read a magazine, but tenses at every shriek or squeal. After last night, I know we won't be going for a walk. I scan my bookshelf and pull out a book about cetaceans. That's dolphins, whales, and porpoises, in case you didn't know, and stuff it into my backpack. Then I open my aqua journal and look at my clownfish drawing again. It's really good. I put my aqua journal in the backpack too, then lock my bedroom door and head for the kitchen. Mum is pouring a cup of coffee. She gives me a tired smile. Thanks for giving Ollie breakfast, sweetheart. That's okay, Mum. I look across at Oliver, who is still staring into the sink. He has underpants on now, and an old Batman singlet that is way too small for him. How long they'll stay on is anyone's guess, but I bet they don't make it to the city. And now we're up to chapter 4. So, what is something major we've just learnt about Oliver? Yep, it's that he has autism. Are there any other things you might have picked up about the characters? Maybe something else that they like doing together? Chapter 4. The car feels like an oven. I wind the window down for some breeze. Chilly! Mum glances in the rear vision mirror. I've got the aircon on. I've got a river of sweat trickling down my back, and my sunglasses keep fogging up. Well, it's not working. Mum gives me a look. It's doing its best. Wind the window back up. I wind up the window and slump against it. I want to sit up front with Mum and show her my drawing. Plus, it's way cooler up there. But she made me sit in the back to keep an eye on Oliver, who is fiddling with his spinner. Now I don't even feel like showing her my drawing. I've started working on a new one anyway. I balance my aqua journal and the book about cetaceans on my lap, far out of Oliver's reach. I would never let him anywhere near my aqua journal. Paper is one of Oliver's favorite things to destroy. Sometimes, when he's only a little bit upset, we give him scrap paper. He twists and tears it into a million tiny pieces, and it makes him feel calm again, which is fine, as long as the paper isn't anything precious like a book or drawing. I'm trying to copy a dolphin from the book into my aqua journal, but both books keep slipping off my lap, and my pencil is wobbling all over the place. The dolphin now has a wonky tail. I give up and tuck my aqua journal, the pencil, and the book away in my bag. The fields flashing by are dusty, dry, and empty. I count more dead kangaroos on the side of the road than cattle in the fields. Wildlife really suffers in drought. There is nobody to bring them hay or water. When I do spot a small group of cattle standing in the shade of a shed, they look just as bony as Oliver. As if he knows I'm thinking about him, Oliver lets out a shriek. He is flapping his hands, and it's not the happy kind. He's also kicking. Then I realize why. He has dropped his spinner. A spinner looks a bit like a helicopter blade. You just flick it with your finger, and it spins around and around. That's about all you can do with it. Flick and spin. It's supposed to help calm Oliver down, like humming or flapping or switching the lights on and off. It usually works, except when he drops it. If that happens, it has the opposite effect. I lean across to Oliver's side and fumble around at his feet, but his foot catches my shoulder and I yelp. "Can you see it?" Mum shouts impatiently as Oliver's shrieks grow louder. I feel all around his booster seat, trying not to get hit again. "I think it's gone under your seat, Mum." "Then give him some paper." I look around frantically for a notepad or a receipt, but I can't find anything. Oliver is screaming at full throttle now. The car lurches. "Oh, for goodness sake." Mum pulls over. She leans forward and rummages under her seat. Finally, she turns around and pushes a spinner into Oliver's flailing hands. A white van whizzes past us, horn blaring. Waving arms and pressed faces flash past. It's Helen and some other kids from school on their way to swimming lessons. A wave of jealousy washes over me. I'd give anything to be in that van with them, instead of this oven with my angry mother and screaming brother. I couldn't imagine anywhere I'd rather be right now than in a swimming pool. Actually, I could. On my boat, in the middle of the Great Barrier Reef. I'd dive off the front of the boat into the cool, clear water. Fish would swim all around me. There might be stingrays or turtles, or maybe even a dolphin, if I'm lucky. I'd hold my breath and dive down, down, down. "Tilly!" The car stopped again, and my door is open. Mum is peering down at me. "Come on, we're late." I look across at Oliver. He is fast asleep, and naked. We push through the double doors and head to the reception desk to check in. I have never seen this receptionist before. She has lots of makeup on, and her hair is done up all fancy. She's really pretty. The name tag on her t-shirt says Gloria. Gloria looks very surprised to see that Oliver has no clothes on. Nobody else in the waiting room even looks up. I'm sorry we're late. Mum shifts Oliver higher onto her hip and forces a smile at Gloria. "I'm Dana Roberts. This is Oliver. We're here to see Amanda." Since Mum has forgotten to introduce me, I'm thinking to tell Gloria that my name is Tilly, but before I can even take a breath, they are talking about Oliver. Sometimes, I feel like just the glass in my fish tank. People look right through me. Oliver struggles, and Mum sets him down on the carpet. As soon as his feet touch the ground, a dog outside starts barking. The thing about Oliver is that even though he likes predictable noises like doorbells and rubbish trucks, he hates sudden noises like shouting or barking. And he is totally terrified of dogs. Oliver crumples into a ball on the floor. He wraps his arms around his head and starts to shriek. Amanda rushes into the waiting room. "Hello, Ollie," she says more cheerfully than she must feel. She has a whole hour of this ahead of her, after all. "Are you ready to have fun?" Oliver does not look ready to have fun. He is pinned against the counter, his shrieks growing louder by the second. Mum fumbles around in her handbag. She's forgotten his earmuffs. It doesn't really matter. Oliver hates the feel of them anyway. They're impossible to keep on him, just like the padded helmet he's supposed to be wearing during meltdowns. Amanda bends down beside Oliver and looks up at Mum. "I can handle this, Dana. Why don't you and Tilly take a walk?" Oliver's shrieks are deafening. Even the people in the waiting room are looking at us now. A little boy in the corner puts his hand over his ears and starts yelling too. Amanda smiles at me and gives Mum a gentle nudge towards the door. Reluctantly, Mum hands over the bag of Oliver's things. I pick up my bag and hurry towards the door before Mum changes her mind. We walk out of the clinic and cross the road. There is a row of shops and a cafe. Mum orders 2 chocolate milkshakes to take away. As we stand waiting for our drinks, I realize I can't even hear Oliver anymore. I can hear cars passing by and people laughing, and a rustle of a paper. A large black crow is hopping about on the pavement, wrestling with a hamburger wrapper. My anger from the car ride has melted away. Instead, I got a wave of hope building up inside me. We collect our drinks and stroll down the street towards a small park. I sit down beside Mum on a wooden bench and plonk my bag next to me. "I've done a new drawing. Want to see?" Mum is staring straight ahead, not drinking her milkshake. Mum? What, darling? I want to show you my picture. Mum hesitates. Okay. The wave of hope builds even higher as I unzip my bag and quickly pull out my aqua journal. I fumble with the pages until I find my clownfish illustration and hold it out in front of her. It's a clownfish and anemone. Mum looks at it, then looks away. It's lovely, darling. The wave of hope comes smashing down. I guess I was expecting more of a reaction than that. I look at my picture again. Maybe it's not so great after all. Tilly, Mum turns to look at me. I've lost my job. I put down my aqua journal. I'm not worried about my drawing anymore. How come? The bakery's closing down. Oh. Well, can't you get another job? Mum looks worried. She shakes her head. It's not as easy as that. Jobs are very hard to come by at home. The bakery was good because the hours meant I could still look after Oliver after school. She pauses. The landlord has put our rent up again too. We can't afford it anymore, Tilly. We're going to have to move. My wave of hope has been dragged back out to sea. Anger boils up inside me instead. The landlord knows we don't have much money. He probably put up the rent on purpose so we would have to move someplace else. I bet it was because of those grumpy old neighbors complaining about the noise. My stomach's gone cold. Suddenly, I don't want my milkshake anymore. Where will we go? Mum looks at the ground. I was thinking we could make a fresh start. My sister has offered us a place to stay until we get settled and find our feet. It will be much easier for me to find work on the coast. Plus, she wants to help with Oliver. Aunt Janine? She doesn't even know Ollie. That's not true, Matilda. She has met him several times. When? Mum pauses. When he was a baby. I raise my eyebrows at Mum. Well, that was a long time ago. Does she know about, his autism? Yes, we talked it over, Tilly. She is my sister, and she wants to help. God knows we could use a little bit of help. Change of scene might do us all good. I stare at Mum in disbelief. If there's one thing our family is not good at, it's change. And now we're up to chapter 5. So what is Matilda's nickname that Mum gives her? Also, what is Oliver's occupational therapist's name? And now, what did we just find out about Mum? What has happened to Mum? And what are they going to do about the situation? As soon as we leave the city, Oliver zonks out. He does that every Saturday. I don't blame him. If I did that an hour of OT followed by an hour of speech, I'd be tired too. Mum looks at Oliver in the rear vision mirror and gives me a smile. Amanda said he worked hard today. I nod. Then I reach across gently to pick up a strand of banana peel out of his soft blonde hair. There are little bits of yellow paper everywhere too. Before we left, Amanda gave Oliver a piece of her notepad for the ride home, just in case he needed it. As I pick up bits of paper out of his hair one by one, Mum laughs. My two little monkeys. I'm glad Oliver is asleep, because I have a trillion questions for Mum. When will we move? Mum slows the car down at an intersection and takes a swig of coffee. As soon as I can arrange it. Now is a good time. It's almost end of term. We take off again. What about Helen? I ask. You'll keep in touch. You can email her. And besides, you'll make me friends. But where will I go to school? I'll enroll you to the local primary school when we arrive. Is there a special school for Oliver? Yes, a very good one. What about OT and speech? There are plenty of therapists in Townsville. Mum assures me Aunt Janine is already asking around for recommendations. Oliver has always had Amanda for OT and Matthew for speech therapy. It'll take him forever to get used to someone else. What sort of job will he get? I don't know yet, Tilly, but I've been looking. Mum has worked at the bakery for as long as I can remember. I wonder what else she could do. Does Aunt Janine rent her house? Mum shakes her head. She owns her own home. Good. At least there will be no landlord to throw us out when Oliver makes too much noise. Mum looks across at me and smiles. It's close to the beach. My heart skips a beat. Then my face falls. Are you sure she wants us to stay? Yes, Tilly, she does. Does she have a big fence? I think so. Will I have my own bedroom? I'm not sure. Maybe. I fiddle with the key around my neck. Will there be a lock on my door? Tilly! Mum shakes her head. I can't answer all your questions right now. You'll just have to wait and see. We pull into town just as the sun goes down. Mum stops at a red light. Some men in high-vis vests are setting up signs to do roadworks. The signs knock together and make a loud clanging noise. Oliver stirs in his sleep. One of the men shouts to another. Oliver stiffens his face, scrunching like a piece of paper. Then I hear the shrill wail of a siren in the distance. Luckily, the light turns green and we zoom off before Oliver has a chance to wake up. I think about Oliver and how he likes everything to be the same. This move is going to be a big change for all of us. A really big change. But for Ollie, it will be even bigger. Maybe too big. As soon as we get home, I grab an atlas off my bookshelf and carry it into the kitchen. Mum is at the table spoon-feeding mashed banana to a still sleepy Oliver. I plonk the atlas down on the table and flip it to the index. Townsville. That's in Queensland. Mum wipes Oliver's hand with a face washer. That's right. I flip to the right page and gasp. Mum! I tap on the page excitedly. Townsville is right near the Great Barrier Reef. Mum gives me a tired smile. We had better enroll you in swimming lessons then, hadn't we? Really? Mum nods. Really. My head is in a whir. I can't believe it. We're moving to Queensland. I'm finally going to learn to swim. I'll learn to snorkel on the Great Barrier Reef and maybe even scuba dive. I'll become a famous marine scientist. And I leap up from the table. My fish! I run down the hall and unlock my bedroom door. 12 hungry neon tetras are darting back and forth, wondering where their dinner is. I take a water sample, check the temperature, and drop some flakes into the tank. Then I have a thought. My fish tank is not supposed to be moved. At least, not very far. The slightest change in temperature or water quality could kill my neon tetras. How are we going to get it to Queensland? I run back to the kitchen. Oliver is on the floor with the tablet, listening to his favorite song. Mum, what about my fish tank? Mum puts down the chopping board and turns to face me. We're going to have to leave it behind, Tilly. I feel sick. The room is spinning. I grab the counter to steady myself. Oh, Tilly. Mum wraps her arms around me and rests. Her chin on the top of my head. You'll have the biggest fish tank in the world right on your doorstep. Once I get to work and we find a place of our own, you'll be able to swim with the fishes until your heart's content. I swallow hard. Mum's right. I know from one of my books that the Great Barrier Reef is huge. It's so big, in fact, that it can be seen from space. There are more than 1,500 species of fish in the Great Barrier Reef. That's not even counting the turtles, sharks, stingrays, dolphins, and dugongs that live there too. But who will take care of my neon tetras? Mum thinks for a minute. Why don't you ask your friend Helen? I lie awake in bed that night, listening to the distant hum of the television. Through the window, I can see the moon. I'm glad it's keeping me company. I wonder if it looks the same in Townsville. It's probably shining on the water there. I think of all the fish beneath the surface, just waiting for me to discover them. Oliver might like being near water so much, and he can be naked whenever he wants. Mum says that Townsville is warm all year round. If I get my own bedroom at Aunt Janine's house, it will feel strange without my fish tank. I'm so used to feeding my neon tetras and checking the water quality and temp of their tank twice a day. I hope there is a lock on the door. If I can't have my own fish tank, I want my other precious things to be safe at least. I hope Aunt Janine doesn't own anything breakable. I hope her neighbors are nice and don't mind noise. I hope she has lots of soft cotton sheets and the kind of yogurt Oliver likes. But most of all, I hope she has a really, really high fence with a lock on the gate. I roll out of bed and stagger into the lounge room. After the darkness of my bedroom, the light hurts my eyes. Mum reaches for the remote. You should be in bed, Tilly. I squint at Mum. I have another question. Can't it wait until morning? I shake my head. Mum takes her glasses off and turns the sound down on the TV. Go on then. I take a deep breath. What day do they collect the rubbish in Townsville? And here we are at chapter 6. So, how does Tilly feel about moving to Townsville? What about Mum? And how do you think Oliver might react to moving to Townsville? Alright, chapter 6. I stink of vomit. Not mine, but Oliver's, which is so much worse. Mum doesn't usually give Oliver food on road trips because he gets car sick. But driving to Queensland is not like driving into the city. It takes a whole day to get to Townsville, and you can't go a whole day without eating. I go through half a box of tissues trying to wipe the white blobs off my shirt, but there's nothing I can do about the sour yogurt smell. Mum's toiletries bag is poking out from under the seat. I know she keeps a bottle of perfume, even though she never gets a chance to wear it. I want to spray myself head to toe with it, but the smell would make Oliver lose his mind. Mum stops at a service station in the middle of nowhere. When I open the car door, the air feels different. Hot and sort of steamy, like a bathroom after you take a shower. I throw the dirty tissues into a rubbish bin. While Mum is filling up the petrol tank, I collect the key from the attendant and run around the back to the toilets to wash the front of my shirt. When I'm finished, I wring it out on the grass at the back of the service station. I haven't seen grass this green in a long time. There are lots of trees too, mostly palm trees, but also other kind of tree with big white flowers. Some of them have fallen on the ground. I pick one up. It smells delicious. I put it behind my ear, hoping it will make me smell a bit nicer. I pick another one up for Mum and jog back to return the key to the attendant. On my way back to the car, my heart almost stops. Perched on the side of the rubbish bin is the biggest bird I've ever seen. It's white, with a long black beak like a walking stick. Its head disappears as it pokes around in the bin. The biggest birds we have back home are crows. I think back to that one that I saw in the city, the day Mum told me we were moving. The one that was wrestling with the hamburger wrapper. Already, that feels like a lifetime ago. I edge past Birdzilla and sprint to the car. Mum already has the engine running. I jump in and shut the door quickly behind me. Phew! What on earth was that? Mum laughs. You can ask Aunt Janine. Actually, I had better call and let her know that we aren't far away. I pull up a crumpled piece of paper out of my bag and add Birdzilla to the list of things I want to ask Aunt Janine. I already want to ask her what day the rubbish truck comes in Townsville, because Mum said she has no idea. I wriggle around in my seat, trying to find a comfortable position. It's not easy. I've got bags at my feet, bags to the side of me, and Mum's yoga mat keeps sliding forward and hitting me in the back of the head every time the car slows down. Mum has put most of our bigger stuff, like furniture, in storage, just until we find a place of our own. Everything else, though, is stuffed into our car. Our car is so jam-packed, there isn't room for a mouse. It's just as well we don't have a mouse or any other pets. I get a horrible sinking feeling in my chest when I think about my neon tetras. I hope the journey to Helen's wasn't too bumpy, and that there are still 12 of them. The day before we left, Helen and her mum came by in their white van to pick up my fish tank. I had written out a whole page of instructions and explained to Helen that she had to check the tank 2 times a day. Mum exchanged email addresses with Helen's mum. Helen had promised to write to me and let me know how the fish are doing. I've promised to email her back with a photo of me snorkeling on the Great Barrier Reef. Just before we left, Mum asked me to do a last-minute check of the house to make sure we hadn't forgotten anything. Without all our stuff, it looked so empty, like we'd never even lived there. Without the kitchen table, it was hard to imagine Oliver ever standing there on Saturday morning waiting for the rubbish truck. I went back to my room for one last look. Now that it was empty, it looked huge. The carpet looked newer where my bed and desk and chest of drawers had been, and there was a slightly darker patch on the wall where my fish poster had hung. I didn't want to forget living here. I didn't want the house to forget me either. So I wrote my name in tiny letters on the inside of my wardrobe, just to be sure. Beside me in the car, Oliver lets out a shriek. He twists and turns in his booster seat, like a blue marlin caught on a line. I know just how he feels. I'm dying to stretch out my legs properly. My back aches from sitting in the car for so long. I'm hot and tired, and I hope we get there soon, because I'm not sure I can stand it much longer. I give him a tissue to tear up, but he shoves my hand away. I take a spinner and flick it so it spins really fast, but he screams even louder. Hold on, Ollie! Mum fumbles with the dashboard. We're almost there! Loud, cheerful singing fills the car. It's Oliver's favorite song. It's really for toddlers, not 8-year-olds. It just repeats the same line over and over again. That's why he likes it so much. Oliver stops squirming and stares out the window. The car slows down as we approach a huge roundabout. This time, I grab the yoga mat before it whacks me in the head. Then I see it. Right in the middle of the roundabout is a massive sign. Welcome to Townsville, capital of North Queensland. We're here! Mum grins at me through the rear vision mirror. All along the roadside are huge signs advertising things to see and do in Townsville. I spot a huge billboard of a girl snorkeling in crystal blue water, surrounded by colorful fish of all kinds. Excitement bubbles away in my stomach. That's going to be me soon. Look, Ollie. I tap the window to get his attention. Water! 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 I say the words a few times, because you never know. One day he might surprise us. Wow! I gaze out the window, watching the scenery rush by. Everything is so green. I look across at Oliver, who is smiling. Maybe he is thinking about the water, or maybe he has noticed how green it is here too. Mum looks in the rearview mirror and grins at both of us. Aunt Janine says they've had a lot of rain. I think about how good it would feel to stand in the pouring rain and get completely soaked. I bet Ollie would love that. Mum is humming along to Oliver's favorite song. She picks up a can of soft drink and takes a swig. I'm about to ask her for a sip when I notice another can on the seat beside me. Grinning with surprise, I pick it up and flip it open. It's not ice cold anymore, but it still tastes good. Mum looks in the rear vision mirror and winks at me. The flower I gave her is tucked behind her ear, like mine. Ready for that fresh start, Tilly girl? I take another gulp and wink back at her. You bet. Maybe our family can do change. And now we're up to chapter 7. So how did Mum manage to keep Oliver calm during the trip? Also, how's Tilly feeling about coming to Townsville? And how did she manage to take care of the neon tetras? Or what did she do about them? Chapter 7. I spot the street sign before Mum does. Hibiscus Avenue! There it is! Mum waits for a car to pass by and then turns into Aunt Janine's street. Oliver's head lolls to the other side, but he doesn't wake up. It's easy to see how Hibiscus Avenue got its name. The bright red flowers are everywhere. I noticed that most of the streets here are named after flowers. I wonder if Jacaranda Street is full of jacarandas and Lily Parade is full of lilies. I wind down the window, keeping my eyes peeled for number 68. If every house had a number printed clearly on its letterbox, my job would be a lot easier. There's the number 10. Mum leans over the steering wheel. So it'll be on this side, but right down the other end. It's not just the air and the trees and the birds that are different here. The houses look funny too. Some of them are really high up, like they're on stilts. They're called Queenslanders, Mum explains. They're designed so that air flows freely underneath them to keep the place cool. Do you notice anything else different about the houses here? I study each place as it slides by the window. Then I shake my head. Mum grins. No chimneys! Oh, right. That makes perfect sense. Why would you need a fireplace where it is warm all year round? 68! Mum slams on the brake. The yoga mat hits me in the back of the head again. Here we are, kiddos. I rub my head and look up. Aunt Janine's house is a Queenslander too. It's blue, white and grey, and there are trees all around it. I look at the neighbouring houses. I wonder if the people who live there are Aunt Janine's friends. They might not be after tonight. The lawn is very, very green. It goes all the way up to the letterbox. Suddenly, my stomach flips. Mum, there's no fence! For a moment, Mum looks worried too. Then, she puts on her best reassuring smile, but it doesn't quite reach her eyes. It'll be alright, Tilly. This is temporary, just till we get our own place. My stomach is tying itself in knots. What if Oliver slips outside while none of us is watching? Aunt Jenny should have told us that she didn't have a fence. But she probably doesn't know much about autism or what that means for Oliver. After all, she hasn't seen him since he was a baby. But if Mum thinks it'll be okay, maybe it will be. We are already used to keeping a close eye on Oliver, and it's not like we have anywhere else to go. The front door opens. A tall lady in a flowery dress walks down the front steps. She looks exactly like Mum, only older. Aunt Janine waves at us and smiles. She looks nice. I wonder why Mum hasn't seen her in such a long time. Mum is already out of the car and hugging Aunt Janine. They hug each other for a long time. I look across at Oliver, who is still asleep. Then I get out of the car and go and stand beside Mum. I feel shy. My palms are sweating. I smooth out my shirt, wishing I smelled of Mum's perfume instead of sour yogurt. I touch the flower behind my ear. Maybe I should have got one for Aunt Janine too. But then I notice a tree in front of a yard, full of flowers just like it. When they finally let go of each other, Aunt Janine looks me up and down in surprise. "You can't possibly be Tilly. You are far too grown up." She leans over to kiss me on the cheek. She smells nice too. I hope her perfume is covering up the smell of Oliver's spew. Mum comes back from the car with Oliver on her hip. He rubs his eyes, and pretty soon his head is twisting back and forth, taking in every new sight, sound, and smell. His blue eyes grow wider and wider. His hands begin to fidget and flap. Aunt Janine smiles at him. "Hello, Oliver!" I cringe. Why do people always shout at Ollie? He may have autism, but his hearing is fine. Actually, it's better than fine. He can hear stuff way before we do, like the rubbish truck. Oliver's hands fly to his ears. He twists his head away from the sound of Aunt Janine's voice. She leans across and tries to kiss his cheek. Oliver grimaces. He covers his face with both hands. Then the shrieking starts. Aunt Janine turns white. She looks from Mum to me and back to Mum again. Mum jiggles him up and down. "I'm sorry, Janine. It's not you. I think it might be a perfume." Oliver is very sensitive to smells, I explain. "Oh dear." Aunt Janine shakes her head. "You didn't tell me that. I'll go and wash it off." She rushes inside. Oliver's shrieking is hurting my ears. I run back to the car to look for a spinner. I find it and sprint back to Mum, but Oliver is beyond that now. His shrieks have turned into piercing screams. A couple walking by are rubbernecking. That's a term I learned from Helen's dad. He's an ambulance officer. He says people who slow down to stare at things, like accidents, usually cause more accidents. I stand in front of Oliver, trying to block their view. I hope they walk into a pole. Oliver is squirming so hard that Mum can't hold him anymore. She lowers him to the ground and tries to wrap her arms around him. Then, I spot the hose. When Aunt Janine comes back out, she looks surprised. Maybe because Oliver's screaming has stopped so suddenly. Maybe because I'm sitting on the grass with Oliver between my knees, letting the water from her hose run over his fingers. It calms him, I explain. Mum and Aunt Janine walk back and forth from the car to the house, unloading all our stuff. I put the hose into Ollie's hand and gently fold it closed. When I can see he is holding it steady, I rest my cheek on his warm head. The thing about Ollie is that even though he is 8, the top of his head still has that sweet baby smell, kind of like marshmallows. Every time they walk up from the steps, I hear a funny hooting noise. Ollie hears it too. After a few more hoots, he wriggles out of my hold. I follow him. We crouch down and peer under a bush. Too-hoo! An owl stares back at us. It's not a real owl, just one of those fake ones to warn people that visitors are here. But Oliver likes it a lot. He runs back and forth in front of it on tiptoe, flapping with delight. If there is a world record for hooting, I think the owl just broke it. I'm relieved when everything is unpacked and Mum carries the last bag up the stairs. I think the owl is too. And we're at chapter 8 now. So what happened in chapter 7? It's pretty simple. We have just met Aunt Janine. Chapter 8. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Oliver has found the doorbell. Before I can stop him, he's running down the hall. I shut the front door firmly behind us and follow Aunt Janine into the kitchen. Mum sets the bag down on the floor and wipes her brow. Oh, it's so lovely and cool in here. Who needs air conditioning when you live in a Queenslander? Aunt Janine opens a cupboard and pulls out 4 glasses. In summer, I just have to leave the back door and the front door open and let the breeze do all the work. I give Mum a worried look. Leaving both doors open is not an option with Oliver here. Aunt Janine pours homemade lemonade into the glasses for each of us. Mum and I take polite sips of ours, but Oliver's remains untouched. The kitchen lights are flickering on and off, on and off. Aunt Janine laughs. Mum does too, but it is a nervous laugh. Oliver is running from room to room on tiptoe, flapping his hands and humming. I hear a toilet flush. When he runs past again, I jump up and follow him down the hallway and run into a small bedroom. There is a double bed in the middle of the room, with a bedside table and not much else. Then I notice a stained glass window, way up higher near the ceiling. The afternoon sun is shining through it, reflecting blue, red, green, and yellow shapes onto the carpet. Ollie has noticed it too. He stares, unmoving, as if he is under a spell. I reach for his hand, but he turns around and races back up the hall, flapping and shrieking with excitement. Mum finally catches him on his way through the kitchen and hoists him up onto her lap. To Aunt Janine, it must look as though Mum is giving Oliver a bear hug. But I know the truth. She is really just trying to keep him under control. Looking around the kitchen, it is clear that Aunt Janine hasn't had much to do with kids, and that she knows nothing about Oliver. There are low shelves filled with books and ornaments. There is a whole cupboard filled with clay pots and bowls and cups that look like they have been painted by hand. Mum grips Oliver a little tighter. She nods at the little handmade pots. Did you make those, Janine? Aunt Janine beams. Yes! I took up ceramics a few years back. I haven't done much lately, though I still have my pottery wheel under the house. Mum looks impressed. They're very good. Aunt Janine laughs. Well, only the best ones are on display. You should see all the duds I have under the house. I look at all the little pots and cups and wonder if Aunt Janine would let me have a go at painting one. Oliver is interested in the pots too, but he is like an octopus. His arms are going everywhere. Mum is holding him tighter than ever. I don't blame her. Mum winces in pain as Oliver digs his nails into Mum's folded arms, trying to loosen their grip. Finally, he lets out a shriek of frustration and starts kicking Mum at the shins. Aunt Janine jumps up. How about I take you all for a little drive before dinner? I could show some of the sights. Mum looks relieved. That sounds like a wonderful idea. She struggles to her feet and hoists Oliver onto her hip. I'll get Oliver's booster seat. I'm relieved too. Firstly, because we get to go out in Aunt Janine's car, which won't stink like vomit. And secondly, because the sooner we get Oliver out of Aunt Janine's kitchen, with all her precious breakable things, the sooner Mum and I can breathe again. Aunt Janine's car is spotless. There are no chip wrappers, torn up bits of paper, empty coffee cups, or toy cars. Just a single air freshener hanging from the rearview mirror. It must have been hanging there a long time, because I can't smell it. Thankfully, Oliver can't either. He has settled into his old booster seat and is staring out the window. I stretch out my legs and wriggle my toes. Can you show us the beach? Aunt Janine smiles. Of course! Red flowers flash past the window again as we drive down Hibiscus Avenue. The river is just down this way, Aunt Janine points. I perk up. Maybe I'll go swimming there too. once I learn how. There's a cycle track and a playground and loads of wild mango trees. Lots of people go fishing there, but at the moment, the river is swollen from all the rain. We crane our necks, and I catch a glimpse of murky brown water. Are there any crocodiles in the river? I ask warily. Anjani nods. We do get freshies from time to time. She must mean freshwater crocodiles. They are smaller and far less dangerous than saltwater crocodiles. Even so, when I do learn to swim, I definitely won't be practicing in the river. Oliver twists around in his seat as the river disappears from view. Water! Water! He signs. We drive down a main road, and Aunt Janine points out a huge shopping center. That's our biggest. You'll find everything you need in there. Good, Mum nods. I'll need to take Tilly shoe shopping before school starts. And swimsuit shopping, I reminded her. Mum doesn't answer. She's paying closer attention to the road. She asks Aunt Janine a lot of questions as we wait for the lights to change. I guess she wants to be able to drive us around to different places herself. Maybe even to swimming lessons. I suddenly wonder if the pool is open in winter. Mum said Townsville is warm all year round. I open my mouth to ask, but Mum is still talking. I decide to add it to my list of questions for Aunt Janine when we get home. Everything here is a lot more spread out than it was at home. I have no idea how I'm going to remember my way around. Judging by the look on Mum's face, I think she feels the same way. Around the corner from the shopping center, Aunt Janine points out a bunch of brick buildings with a giant green oval behind it. That's your new school, Tilly. She turns to Mum. The uniform shop will be open the week before school starts. I bite my lip. It looks more like a high school than a primary school. I'll be like a tiny damselfish in a school of thousands. But at least it's close to the shopping center. I wonder if I'll walk down to the shops with my friends after school. If I make any friends, that is. Mum notices a long strip of shoes that includes a bakery. I might pop in with my resume, she decides, just in case they have any work going. Driving around the city, I realize that Townsville is almost completely flat, well except for one huge mountain smack bang in the middle of the city. That's Castle Hill, Aunt Janine explains. There's a fabulous view from the top. Would you like to go up? I would much rather check out the beach. But before I can open my mouth, Mum says, we would love to. We follow the signs for Castle Hill. After a steady climb up a narrow, winding road, we come to a car park with a lookout. We all climb out of the car. Mum grips Oliver's hand tightly, as though she is afraid he will be blown away by the wind. I lean far over the railing and peer at the toy town below us. It feels a lot cooler up here, and I can see the ocean. Aunt Janine points out Magnetic Island and the direction of her house. Which way is the Great Barrier Reef? I ask, shielding my eyes from the sun. Oh, the reef stretches right along the coast. Aunt Janine points. It's a good 2-hour boat ride out to sea, but it's well worth the trip. I suddenly wonder if Aunt Janine has ever been snorkeling or scuba diving on the Great Barrier Reef, but when I turn around to ask her, she is back at the car helping Mum strap Oliver in. We pick up fish and chips for dinner. Aunt Janine drives us to a park right beside the beach. We sit at a picnic table overlooking the sea. Mum tries to get Oliver to eat his yogurt, following him as he runs off towards the swings. I take a handful of chips and gaze across the water. There are no waves at all. I'm not surprised because I already know that the Great Barrier Reef acts as a kind of breakwall. But the water here is as muddy as the river. It looks nothing at all like the crystal blue waters we saw on the billboard driving in. I can't imagine snorkeling in it, and definitely wouldn't want to go swimming in it. Then I realize nobody is swimming. The beach is deserted. I swallow a mouthful of chips. Where are all the people? Nobody swims here in summer, Aunt Janine tells me, slapping at a leg. It's stinger season. Then I remember reading about poisonous jellyfish that live in tropical waters. It looks like I won't be swimming at the river or at the beach anytime soon. But at least there is a pool in Townsville. I turned to Aunt Janine. Where's the swimming pool? It's probably shut by now, but if Aunt Janine shows us where it is, Mom could take me there in the morning. The pool is on our way home. Aunt Janine smiles. I'll drive you past it. But on the way home, Oliver completely loses it. He shrieks, twisting and writhing in his seat so violently that Aunt Janine had to pull over. Then I see and feel why. Mozzies. They must have gotten into the car when we stopped at the beach. Mum and I slap at the windows, but there are so many of them. Skip the pool? Aunt Janine shouts. Mum nods. Let's go straight home. My shoulders slump. There goes my chance to find out where the pool is. Tomorrow, when I ask Mum about swimming lessons, I know exactly what she will say. I have no idea where the pool is, Tilly. By the time we pull outside Aunt Janine's house, it's dark. Oliver is still screaming and clawing at his leg. Mum carries him inside. Aunt Janine rushes ahead of her to turn on the lights. I hear a shrill chirping noise and look up. The sky is filled with bats. I wonder where they are going. It must be great to be able to fly wherever you want. If I was a bat, I know exactly where I'd go. Home. The only problem is, I'm not sure exactly where that is anymore. And here we are at Chapter 9. So in Chapter 8, we went driving around with Aunt Janine to look at the town. Did everything go as planned? Alright, Chapter 9. Aunt Janine serves up dessert. It's blueberry pie with ice cream, and during the day, they roost in the trees along the riverbank. Aunt Janine is telling me about the bats. Normally that would interest me a lot. I force down a few bites of pie, and then ask Aunt Janine if I may please be excused. I find Mum lying on a mattress on the floor of Aunt Janine's study. Her arms are wrapped tightly around Oliver. Oliver's face is swollen and red. So are his arms and legs. But I can't tell if it is from the mozzie bites or the heat of the room. It's hot enough to bake a blueberry pie in here. I think I had better sleep in here with him, Tilly, Mum whispers. Mum and I were supposed to share the double bed in the spare room, the one with the stained glass window that Oliver likes so much. I was looking forward to sharing a room with Mum. I thought it might give us a chance to talk without being interrupted all the time. But I guess now I'll have my own room, one with no lock on the door. I hear clattering coming from the kitchen, and a tap running. Aunt Janine must be cleaning up the dishes. I wonder what she thinks of us. Mum said Aunt Janine never had any children of her own. Oliver's breaths are smooth and steady. Mum, I whispered, trying not to startle him. This is going to be really tough for Oliver. I know, Mum pauses, but we will have to adjust. I frown. Mum sighs. As a parent, I have to do what's best for us, Tilly, even if it's hard. You'll understand one day, when you have kids of your own. I'm never having kids, I reply. I love my brother, but it's not always easy to like him. He breaks the things we love without ever feeling bad. He can't play games with me or hug me. He can't even look me in the eye. And how do I know that Oliver even loves me? As if he can sense we are talking about him, Oliver jerks in his sleep. Mum wraps her arms around him tightly so that he feels safe. Sometimes I wish Oliver and I could trade places. Mum, her eyes are closed. Can we go and find the pool tomorrow? Mum doesn't answer. Her breaths are long, smooth, and steady, just like Oliver's. I get up slowly, so I don't wake them. The house is quiet. I think Aunt Janine has gone to bed. It must be very late. It feels weird creeping around a stranger's house in the dark. Well, I guess Aunt Janine isn't exactly a stranger. She looks a lot like Mum, but I don't feel like I really know her. I wish I knew where all the light switches were. There are the ones Oliver was flicking on and off, but they will light up half the house like a Christmas tree. Luckily, the moon is out, and I can make out shapes. I feel my way around, moving very slowly so I don't crash into anything. I pause at the kitchen window to take a look at the moon. I know it is the same moon that used to keep me company back at home, but here it looks different, somehow. In the bathroom, I brush my teeth. The taps make a funny noise, and the sinks are way too low. Practicing bubble blowing here is going to be impossible, but I guess it doesn't matter, now that I'll finally be learning to swim. Back in my room, I pick up my fitch post off the floor. It was rolled up in the car too long, and now that it keeps falling off the wall, I put it on the dresser and lie on top of my bed with my list of questions for Aunt Janine. I add, is the pool open in winter? And have you ever been snorkeling or scuba diving? To the list, then tuck it between the pages of my aqua journal. Even if Mum had let me keep my fish tank, there wouldn't have been any space for it here. I hope Helen is checking the water quality and temperature 2 times a day like I told her. And I hope she isn't overfeeding them, the biggest mistake people make with fish. I might send her an email tomorrow to remind her. I look down at my favorite doona, the one with dolphins on it. It is far too hot in Townsville for doonas, but Mum told me to put some of my stuff out, so it would feel more like home. I have rolled out my blue rug and put a stack of my favorite books on the small table beside the bed. But even with all my stuff around me, it still feels like someone else's room. I probably shouldn't get used to it anyway. After all, we don't even know how long we will be staying here, or where we will go after we leave. It makes me feel a bit nervous, not knowing what is going to happen next. Maybe that's how Oliver feels. Maybe I should flick the lights on and off, like he does, or flap my arms, or scream. I wish those things would make me feel better the way they do for Oliver, but I know they won't. I miss my neon tetras. I turn on the lamp. I pull a book off the bedside table and flip through the pages. Sharks, stingrays, colorful fish, and corals flick past. I keep flipping until I find the chapter about nudibranchs. Nudibranchs are one of my favorite marine creatures. They look a bit like slugs, but they aren't slimy or gross. They're beautiful. The name nudibranchs means naked lung, because their lungs are on the outside of their bodies. They look like tiny Christmas trees sticking up out of their backs. Nudibranchs can be pink, blue, purple, orange, yellow, green, red, white, or black. They can be striped or spotted, plain or frilled. My favorite is the Spanish dancer. It is red and black and sort of frilly. When it swims through the water, it looks just like a flamenco dancer, swishing her skirt in time with the music. I reach across for my pencils and my aqua journal and open to a fresh page. I start sketching. Maybe I'll see a Spanish dancer when I go snorkeling. And that was chapter 9. So in this chapter, how is Tilly feeling at the moment? What are all the characters going through? How do you think Aunt Janine feels? And Mum? And Oliver? How are they all feeling in this present moment? Do you think they're feeling happy or a bit uncomfortable? What do you think? And what do you think the reason might be? Chapter 10. I wake up to deafening shrieks. I hold my breath and listen. Phew! It's not Oliver. It's just some birds. I think. I get out of bed and lift the curtain. There are hundreds of cockatoos shrieking in the tree outside of my window. I think they are trying to break Oliver's world record for noise. Though, maybe it's a good thing. If Aunt Janine's neighbors are used to loud noises, they might not mind so much about Oliver being loud. I look across at my books on the bedside table. My aqua journal is perched on the top. I need to find a safe place to keep them, since I can't lock my door anymore. The thing about Oliver is, he is very curious. When he finds something he likes, he wants to look at it again and again. I know he'll come back in here to look at that stained glass window. I grab my books and my aqua journal and stuff them as far underneath the bed as I can. Then I shut the door firmly behind me and head for the kitchen. Mum is at the table feeding Ollie. The yogurt container has a picture of her. dancing fish on the front. It's the exact same kind of yogurt we had back home. It's strange how our lives have turned upside down since moving here. Yet small things like the type of yogurt we can buy stay exactly the same. Mum looks up at me and smiles. How did you sleep? I slump into a chair. Okay, I guess. She pushes something towards me. It's a key on a chain. It looks just like the bedroom door key I used to wear around my neck back home. It's the front door key, Mum explains. Whenever we're out front, we have to remember to lock the door behind us, so that Ollie can't get out. It's really important that we don't forget, seeing as there is no fence here. Okay. I'm glad Mum has talked to Aunt Janine about the no fence problem. I wonder if Aunt Janine minds that she can't keep her front door open for the breeze anymore. There are blobs of yogurt all over the table. I stick my finger into one and move it around. Suddenly, the blob of yogurt looks just like a fish. Tilly! Mum gives me a disapproving look. How is Oliver supposed to learn table manners when he sees you playing with your food? I almost laugh. Oliver doesn't pay attention to anything anyone else does. I lick my finger clean and then wipe it dry on my nightie. Hey, at least I'm wearing clothes, I point out. Mum shakes her head at me. I look back at the yogurt blob, which is now looking a lot more like a piece of coral than fish. Mum, I ask carefully, I thought maybe we could go to that shopping center this morning. You said I need school shoes, and while we're there, I could look for a pair of swimmers. Mum doesn't say anything. I take a deep breath. Then maybe I could start swimming lessons this afternoon. Mum tries to feed Oliver another spoonful of yogurt, but he thrashes his head back and forth and it ends up in his hair. Before Mum has a chance to grab the face washer, he slips out of his chair like an eel and is gone. Mum wipes the table. I have no idea where the pool even is, Tilly. My jaw clenches. I knew she was going to say that. I spot Mum's phone on the table. Can't you just look up the address? Mum stands up. She picks up Oliver's bowl and spoon, then wipes the table with the face washer. I will when I'm ready, Tilly. I roll my eyes in exasperation. But you promised I would get swimming lessons when we moved here. Mum pauses, mid-wipe. And you will, just not today. Finding a job and a place to live is far more important than swimming lessons right now. The back door shuts. Aunt Janine walks in carrying a bunch of flowers from her garden. Mum gives me a warning look. I ignore her and turn to Aunt Janine. Could you take me to the pool? I need to learn to swim so that I can be a marine scientist one day. But first, I need to buy a pair of swimmers. Aunt Janine pulls a vase out of her cupboard and fills it with water. I'd love to, Tilly, but I think Mum needs my help this morning. That's right, Mum nods. I do. Tilly will just have to be patient. Patient? I turn away from Mum. A ball of anger rises in my throat. I've only been waiting my entire life for swimming lessons. Aunt Janine puts her hand on my shoulder and gives it a gentle squeeze. I slump at the table with my chin in my hands. I'm hoping Mum might feel sorry for me and change her mind. But Mum is too busy asking Aunt Janine questions about school enrollment forms to notice. Mum, can I email Helen? I need to tell her not to overfeed my fish. Mum looks over the top of her glasses at me. I'm sure Helen knows that. Tilly, give her a chance. It's only been a day. She turns back to Aunt Janine, and they start talking about occupational therapists in the area. Maybe I really am made out of glass. I push back my chair and stomp back down the hall to my room. I'm kind of hoping Mum might come after me, but she doesn't. My door is open. My doona is on the floor and there is something sticky in my bed. Yogurt! Oliver's been here. I bet he came to look at the stained glass window again. I dive under the bed. Phew! My books, aqua journal, and pencils are still safe. I should ask Mum about getting a lock for this room. Then I think about it. If I ask her now, she'll probably just say no. I'll bring it up later. I throw on some clothes and then grab my aqua journal and pencils and head back to the kitchen. I'm going out to the front, I announce, not expecting anyone to reply. Oliver climbs onto Mum's lap with a fist full of Aunt Janine's spoons. He starts licking the handles one by one. Mum's head jerks up. Could you take Oliver with you? I scowl. There's no fence out front, remember? I trust you to watch him. Tilly, he'll be fine if he's with you. The ball of anger in my throat is getting so big it might explode into a scream. If I can't go to the swimming pool, or to the shops, or even email my best friend, I should at least be able to draw in the front yard in peace, shouldn't I? I hold up my aqua journal and pencils. But I'm drawing! Mum puts down her pen and rubs her eyes. Tilly, if I'm going to find a job and a place for us to live. I roll my eyes. Okay, fine. I grab Oliver's arm, a little more roughly than I should. Mum stares at me in shock. I glare back at her. Come on, Oliver, let's go find some water. And that is the end of chapter 10. So how's Tilly feeling at the moment? What has gotten her so upset? Chapter 11. When we get outside, I'm churning with guilt. I check Ollie's arm to see if it's bruised. Thankfully, it's not. I shouldn't have grabbed him so hard. It's not his fault that I have to look after him. After walking back and forth in front of the L 100 times, we finally sit down on the grass with the hose. Although it's still early, the day is already super hot. The air feels thick and sticky, and it smells kind of sweet. The cockatoos have gone from the tree, but the cicadas are starting up a chorus that is just as loud. A flash of blue catches the sun. Look, Ollie! I point. Butterfly! Oliver's gaze doesn't shift from the water running over his fingertips. I let him hold the hose and lean back, resting on my elbows. The grass tickles the back of my calves as I stretch out my legs. I still can't believe how green it is here. I'm also amazed by how many different shades of green there are. There are big fat leaves of dark green, and long pointy ones that are bright yellowish green in color. I spot lime green, mint green, and even jade, the color of the earrings Mum's friend brought her back from New Zealand. And of course, there are beautiful, brightly colored flowers everywhere. I close my eyes and visualize my pack of colored pencils. If I were to draw Aunt Janine's garden, I would start with the flowers, the easy bit. Showing all the different kinds of green would be much trickier, since I only have 3 green pencils: light green, dark green, and mint. I wonder if I could blend them somehow. Something cold seeps into my shorts. My eyes snap open. The grass around me is soaked. Oliver! I scramble to my feet. My brother is in the middle of the road, bouncing up and down on tiptoe. Water! Water! He signs, as I sprint towards him. Thankfully, there are no cars. No, Ollie! I pant, holding his shoulders firmly as I try to steer him back towards the house. The water is back this way. He twists away from me and runs back onto the road. I run after him. Water! Water! He signs again, tiptoeing a little further down the street. Suddenly, I realize what he means. He wants to go down to the river. I imagine swirly, muddy water filled with crocodiles and shudder. I wrap my arms around his waist and try to lift him, but he struggles. For a small kid, he is surprisingly strong. When I don't let go, he screams and kicks at my shins. We can't go to the river today, Ollie, I plead, but we'll go another time, I promise. I look back at the house. Even if I shout at the top of my lungs, there's no way Mum will hear me. Then I spot a woman walking towards us with a dog. I have an idea. It's kind of mean, but I know I'll be able to get Oliver safely inside. Look, Ollie! Dog! Dog! Oliver crumples into a ball at my feet. He wraps his arms over his head and starts to shriek. Soon he is drowning out the sound of the cicadas. The lady frowns at us and crosses the street, pulling her dog after her. I lift my brother up and sling him over my shoulder. Oliver might be strong, but at least he's light. At times like this, I'm glad he eats nothing but yogurt and bananas. And now it's chapter 12. So what just happened in chapter 11? We had a risky scenario, but how did Tilly manage to get out of it? Chapter 12. I'm hiding out on the front veranda. I wish I could spin a sleeping bag around myself like a parrotfish, because I don't feel like talking to anyone. I brought my aqua journal and pencils outside with me, but I'm so tired that I don't even feel like drawing. I squint across the front yard, wishing I hadn't left my sunglasses in the car. People are jogging past the house with their dogs, which seems crazy to me. Probably because none of us has even been to sleep yet. Well, none except Oliver. He finally crashed about half an hour ago. Last night was terrible. Oliver kicked a hole in the wall and he broke almost all of Aunt Janine's hand-painted pots. All because Aunt Janine moved his cars out of the way so she could vacuum. Then he screamed for 5 hours. That's got to be a new world record. Mum says it may take longer than she thought for Oliver to adjust. You know what I think? I think Mum is crazy. She should have never brought us here. Oliver can't even adjust to someone moving his cars, or to sheets that aren't cotton, or to the smell of perfume, or to the taste of new foods. How can Mum expect him to adjust to this much change, especially when it's happening all at once? His whole world has been turned upside down and back to front, and for once I know exactly how he feels. But unlike me, Oliver doesn't understand where he is or why he is here. He just knows that it feels wrong. We should have stayed right where we were. Mum could have tried harder to get another job. She could have found us another place to live nearby. We'd still be at the same schools with the same friends. Oliver would still be going to the city for therapy every Saturday with Amanda and Matthew. And I'd still have my fish tank. Aunt Janine finds me curled up in a rocking chair. Hungry? I shake my head. I wonder if she's mad about the hole in the wall and her broken pots. I heard her take a phone call earlier. I bet it was one of the neighbors calling to complain about the noise. If she asks us to leave today, where will we go? Aunt Janine locks the front door behind her and pulls up a chair. When she smiles, she really looks like Mum. Well, when you are hungry, just help yourself to anything you like. My home is your home, Tilly. A huge lump forms in my throat. It's actually pretty nice of Aunt Janine to let us stay here. I nod and turn away quickly, afraid I might cry. There's a loud commotion in the treetops above us. The cockatoos are back. This time, they're tearing the bark off one of Aunt Janine's trees and making a huge mess on the lawn. Then I spot something walking around beneath the tree. It is big and white and has a long black beak, like a walking stick. I sit up. Birdzilla! Then I notice a whole flock of them in the garden across the street. They are flapping their wings and squabbling. What are those birds? I ask Aunt Janine. Ibis, Aunt Janine grins, otherwise known as bin chickens. Bin chickens? They like picking through rubbish bins for food, she explains. They're harmless. I tell her about how scared I was of the one I saw on the rubbish bin at the service station and how I called her Birdzilla, and we both laughed. I glance at Aunt Janine. I'm sorry that Oliver broke your stuff. No need to apologize, Aunt Janine says firmly. They weren't very good pots anyway, she smiles. Why don't you help me make some better ones? Really? My head jerks up. I'd love to. I hear a key in the lock again. The door opens, and this time, Mum comes out. What a night! She locks the door behind her, even though Oliver is still asleep. Mum sits down on the top step and rubs the sides of her head. I'm so sorry, Janine. Moving here is a lot for him to cope with all at once. Then why on earth did you bring us here? I want to scream. That's when I notice bite marks on her arm. They look sore. Mum starts talking to Janine about her plans for the day. Since Oliver will sleep for a few hours now, she wants to make the most of the time and go job hunting. She plans to take a resume around to the bakery and some of the other shops we drove past yesterday. She never mentions taking me swimsuit shopping or going to the pool. Excuse me. I stand up and head for the door. I think I'll make some toast. I really just want an excuse to go inside, but by the time I get the bread out and put it in the toaster, I actually do feel hungry. I open the fridge and grab the jar of Vegemite. I might as well make the most of Oliver being asleep. I balance the Vegemite on the tub of butter, and when I turn around, Mum is standing behind me. Tilly, Mum pauses. I know this isn't easy for you or Oliver. I concentrate really hard on getting the Vegemite and butter to the counter without dropping them. Mum sighs. It's not easy for me either, you know. She leans against the bench. I know you want to go to the pool, Tilly. You will get your lessons. But right now, I have other priorities. Like getting work, getting our own place, getting Oliver into some sort of routine, and finding him a speech therapist, an occupational therapist, a psychologist. I can feel that ball of anger rising in my throat again. By the time she has done all that, school will start, and Oliver will go back to therapy. Then Mum will find a job, and there will be no time, and probably no money left for swimming lessons. But that's going to take forever! Tilly, please, just try to be patient. I'm sick of being patient. We've only been here a few days, Matilda. I stare at my toast. I suppose Mum is right. It's only been a few days, so why does it feel like so much longer? Well, you can at least get a lock for my room. I'm worried about my aqua journal. What if Oliver goes into my room and finds it? I've put so much work into it. It's the most precious thing I have since Mum made me leave my fish tank behind. Mum nods. I think a lock for your room is a very good idea. She pauses to tuck a stray curl behind my ear. But I'll need to check with Aunt Janine first, okay? I nod. Okay. Mum holds out her arms, and I let her draw me in. I lean into her, closing my eyes and breathing deeply. She smells like home. And now we're up to chapter 13. So how's Tilly feeling at the moment? Did they manage to find something they're comfortable with right now? Alright, chapter 13. Break a leg, Aunt Janine calls out from the veranda. Mum gives us the thumbs up. I stare at Aunt Janine in disbelief. Don't we have enough problems? Aunt Janine laughs so hard she almost falls off the veranda. It means good luck, Tilly. We wave as Mum drives off down Hibiscus Avenue. She's going job hunting. I hope she gets the bakery job. Her old boss used to let her bring home the leftovers. I loved the Vegemite scrolls, even though I had to eat them outside so Oliver wouldn't smell them. Mum also promised to stop at a hardware store on the way home to get a lock for my room. Aunt Janine said it was okay. I knew she would. Since Oliver broke her pots and ruined her magazines, I think she understands exactly why I need a lock for my room. This morning, I noticed the house looked a bit barer than usual. I think Aunt Janine has moved some of her own precious things out of sight and reach of Oliver. 2 kids are playing on the nature strip across the street. The girl looks about my age, and the boy a bit younger. The girl has red hair, like Helen's, but instead of being shoulder length, it hangs down her back in one long braid. She looks nice. I wonder what her name is, and if she goes to my new school. She is wearing swimmers. Does that mean the pool is within walking distance from here? Maybe I could walk there on my own. But I can't leave Aunt Janine alone with Oliver. He's asleep now. But what if he woke up and had a meltdown? Or worse, what if he got outside and tried to go down to the river? Come on. Aunt Janine links her arm through mine. I have a little project for you. We go inside and she locks the door behind us. As I follow her down the hall, my curiosity gets the better of me. What kind of project? Aunt Janine grins. You'll see. I follow her into the kitchen. On the table are 2 cardboard boxes. One of them is full of paints, brushes, and dirty rags, and a big bottle of something that looks like syrup. The other box is full of cups and mugs and little bowls. All of them are white and they feel chalky. Did you make these? I ask. Aunt Janine nods. These are some of the good ones that I never got around to painting. I thought you might like to brighten them up a bit. Mum tells me you are a very talented artist. My insides glow. Sure! Whatever you paint is yours to keep, and when you are finished, we'll use gloss to make it watertight. So that's what the bottle of syrup stuff is. While Aunt Janine goes to put a load of washing on, I pick through the box carefully, trying not to break anything. I choose a delicate-looking mug, exactly the kind Mum would like. I bite my lip. I know Mum is trying her best for us. I didn't know she thought I was a very talented artist. And she did promise to bring back a lock for my room today. Aunt Janine has covered the kitchen table with newspaper. There is a jar of water for rinsing my brush and a proper artist's palette for me to squeeze the paint out onto. I nibble the end of a paintbrush. Suddenly, I know just what to paint for Mum. I tiptoe down the hall to my room and pull my aqua journal out from under the bed. Aunt Janine starts pottering about the kitchen. Soon, delicious smells are coming from the stove. She puts on a bit of a music and hums along. It's ages since I've listened to music that isn't for toddlers. Soon, I find myself humming along with her. Painting and drawing always makes me feel calm. I forget everything else and just focus on the lines and colors. Before I know it, an image comes to life under my hands. It's like magic. I rinse the pink off the tip of my brush and lean back in my chair to look at the mug. What do you think? Aunt Janine wipes her hands on a tea towel and comes over to have a look. Wow! A clownfish and anemone! Aunt Janine beams. Your mum was right. You are a very talented artist, Tilly. My insides feel all warm and glowing again. Helen always tells me how good I am at drawing, but hearing that Mum and Aunt Janine think so too is even better somehow. Do you think Mum will like it? Before Aunt Janine can answer, there is a flash of white. I manage to catch my mug just in time. Oliver is clambering onto the kitchen table, all spine, ribs, and shoulder blades. He grabs out a sheet of newspaper, and the vase of flowers Aunt Janine picked a couple of days ago topples onto the floor and smashes into a zillion pieces. No, Oliver! Aunt Janine grabs him around the waist and tries to pull him off the table. No climbing at Aunt Janine's house. Oliver struggles free. She tries again to grab him, but this time he bites her. Aunt Janine stares at her arm in shock. Now, Oliver is screaming at the top of his lungs. Aunt Janine's mouth is moving. She looks at me pleadingly. I can't hear a word, but I know exactly what she is asking me. What's wrong? Oliver is standing on tiptoe again. He's flapping like crazy. But this is not happy flapping. His face looks panicked and confused. He strains his neck, looking out the window, as though he is trying to see something beyond it. Suddenly, I freeze. What day is it? Aunt Janine thinks for a moment. Saturday. Why? I put my head in my hands and shake my head. It's rubbish day. And that was chapter 13. So what did Aunt Janine show Tilly that made her really happy? Chapter 14. We've tried everything to calm down Oliver. The spinner, pieces of paper, filling up the bathroom sink with water, playing Oliver's favorite song on the tablet. So far, nothing has worked. It's Saturday, and Oliver wants the rubbish truck. Aunt Janine told me that in Townsville, the rubbish truck comes on Mondays. But Oliver's internal alarm clock doesn't know that. No matter how hard we try, we will never make him understand that. Oliver is screaming so hard that he is actually turning blue. I wrap my arms around him tightly. I hum in his ear, just like Mum does. I even carry him into my room to show the stained glass window he loves so much. Finally, he falls asleep from exhaustion. I take him to the study and lay him down gently on his mattress. I don't even know if he's broken any records for screaming this time. I've lost track. But I do know one thing. He's broken a lot of Aunt Janine's stuff, and he's almost broken Aunt Janine. Very quietly, I pull his door shut. Then I head back to the kitchen. Aunt Janine looks like she's been to war. Together, we sweep up the glass from the kitchen floor. I put antiseptic on Aunt Janine's arm where Oliver's teeth have broken the skin. We both have missed lunch. What was cooking on the stove is now in the bin, but it's getting close to dinner time now. So Aunt Janine boils the kettle and opens a packet of biscuits. Just as she is pouring the tea, I hear footsteps and a jangle of keys. A woman strides into the kitchen. I do a double take. Mum? She looks different. Really different. Her hair is cut short like a boy's. All the grey has gone. It's now a reddish-brown colour, and she smells like a hair salon. Aunt Janine almost drops the teapot. Wow! You look stunning, Dana! I stare at her in disbelief. Mum's face is glowing. She puts her takeaway coffee on the kitchen table and does a twirl. Well, what do you think? Mum is waiting for me to say something, but the ball of anger in my throat is so big I can't speak. Mum's smile vanishes. Don't you like it, Tilly? Like it? Mum looks like a completely different person. How could you do this? I blurt out. Aunt Janine comes towards me. Now, Tilly. I duck around her. Hasn't poor Ollie been through enough? I suppose you just expect him to adjust to this? Mum closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. I needed a change, Tilly. I'm trying to make a fresh start. Because moving here wasn't enough of a change? I snap sarcastically. Mum doesn't say anything. Oliver is going to lose his mind. Even if we dyed Mum's hair back to the normal colour, even if we added streaks of grey, you can't uncut hair. It will never go back to the way it was. I swallow my anger. Did you get the lock for my door? Mum's face falls. I knew she would forget. I'm so sorry, Tilly. Mum rubs the sides of her head. I'll go back tomorrow. But you promised! Tilly, I've had a lot of other stuff on my mind. Stuff that's more important than a lock for a door. More important than me, you mean? Tilly, Aunt Janine interrupts. That's not fair. My blood is boiling. I feel like screaming, but I don't want to wake up Oliver. Mum looks at me hesitantly. I did drive past the pool, though. It's right on the waterfront. My heart lifts. Did you find out about swimming lessons? There is a long pause. It's closed for repairs, she says finally. My heart drops like a stone. Well, that's just perfect. I turn on my heel and storm down the hall towards my room. I slam my door and flop onto the bed. Tears sting my eyes. Before I can stop them, they're rolling down my cheeks. I wish I was back at home. At least I had my fish tank, and my friends, and a lock on my bedroom door. Here, I've got nothing at all. I wipe my angry tears away angrily. Something is digging into my back. I roll to one side and pull out my aqua journal. Aunt Janine must have put it there to keep it safe. But it's not safe. I swing off the bed and push my aqua journal far underneath it. Then I notice the mug I painted for Mum. It's sitting on the bedside table. I don't put it under the bed. I don't even care if Oliver breaks it. Right now, I could smash it into a million pieces myself. I hear a soft knocking. My door opens. I roll over so that my back is facing the door. The stained glass window is making patterns on the bed. If I were a mantis shrimp, I would punch a hole right through it. Mum sighs. Tilly, can I talk to you? Go away! I wait for Mum to sit down on the edge of my bed, but she doesn't. The door shuts quietly, and I hear her padding back up the hall. When Aunt Janine pops her head in to tell me it's time for dinner, I squeeze my eyes shut and pretend to be asleep. And that was chapter 14. So what has happened with Oliver right now in this chapter? Also, what has the mum done differently? And what has gotten Tilly so upset? How do you think Aunt Janine might be feeling at this present moment? Chapter 15. When I open my eyes again, it's morning. Someone has laid a light blanket over me. The ball of anger in my throat has gone, and my tummy is rumbling. I haven't eaten properly since yesterday morning. I roll off the bed and open the door. Mum and Aunt Janine are in the kitchen. They stop talking as soon as I walk in. Where's Oliver? I ask Aunt Janine. Asleep. She pauses. He had a difficult night. So did Mum by the looks of it. I want to say, I told you so, but I don't. Aunt Janine looks exhausted too. I must have been in deep sleep because I didn't hear a thing. The toaster pops up. Aunt Janine goes to the fridge. I thought you might like to go shopping with me today, Tilly. She spreads the toast thick with butter and Vegemite and brings it to the table. You need school shoes, and we could pick up a lock for your bedroom door. I sit down and take a bite of toast. Okay, thanks. I glance at Mum, as if she's reading my mind. Mum tells me, I'll stay here and watch Oliver, Tilly. The more he sees of me, the quicker he'll adjust to my new look. Don't hold your breath, I think to myself. It feels good to be out of the house. We stop by the hardware store and pick up a lock for my door. It comes with 2 keys, one to wear around my neck and the other to keep somewhere safe as a backup, in case the first one gets lost. Aunt Janine even knows how to install it. You get to be quite handy when you live on your own, she tells me. On the way to the shopping center, we pass by my new school. It looks even bigger than I remembered. What color is the uniform, I ask. Aqua, Aunt Janine replies. Kind of a greenish blue. I grin with surprise. I know, aqua just happens to be my favorite color. At the shopping center, we head straight for Shoe Warehouse. Lots of kids are with their parents doing exactly the same as we are. I hate shopping for school shoes. It takes forever. But Aunt Janine asks for help right away. Soon, a sales lady brings over half a dozen pairs for me to try on. I've forgotten to bring a pair of my own socks. It's so hot that I've been wearing thongs since we got here. I pick a sparkly blue pair from the sock basket and try not to think about whose feet have been in them before mine. I try on the first pair. They are too tight. The second pair is too heavy and the third pair is too chunky. One by one, I try on the others, but every pair feels stiff and uncomfortable. They all kind of feel weird, I tell Aunt Janine. They just need wearing in, Aunt Janine assures me. Before you know it, they'll feel like you've had them forever. The sales lady nods. The leather will soften over time. Finally, I picked a pair that both the sales lady and Aunt Janine like, just so we can get out of here. At the food court, Aunt Janine orders sushi. I got you chicken, she hesitates. I hope that's okay. Of course, I grin at her. Just as long as it's not bin chicken. Aunt Janine laughs. We find an empty table and sit down to eat. Would Oliver eat sushi? Aunt Janine asks me, waving her chopsticks. I don't want to talk with my mouth full, so I shake my head. Aunt Janine sighs. I don't know how he survives on yogurt and bananas. Trust me, I tell her. We tried everything. Oliver holds the records for the world's fussiest eater. This isn't exactly true, but it should be. I pick up the little soy sauce bottle that is shaped like a fish. Aunt Janine, I swim the fish around the table. Do you like Ollie? Of course. I love him, Tilly. He's my nephew. I put the soy sauce bottle down and look at her. But do you actually like him? I mean, he's broken all your stuff. Aunt Janine looks thoughtful. It's not always easy for me to understand Oliver. I haven't had much to do with kids like him. Or any kids for that matter. But I'm learning. I nod. Aunt Janine wipes her mouth with a napkin. Life isn't easy for him, Tilly. And I know it's not always easy for you either. But you have to remember that you are the lucky one. Lucky? I almost laugh. Oliver gets all the attention. Nobody ever even notices me. Aunt Janine sighs. But one day you'll grow up and be independent. Oliver won't. He will always need help. I look at my fingernails. Mom will be there for him, I say quietly, just like she always is. Don't be too hard on your mom, Tilly. None of this is easy for her either. I think it's pretty brave what she's trying to do, moving you all here for a better life. I think our old life was better than this one, but I don't tell Aunt Janine that. Aunt Janine? Yes, Tilly? Why didn't you ever come to visit us? Now it is Aunt Janine's turn to be quiet. She takes a long breath and lets it out. Your mum and I had our differences growing up. We haven't always gotten along, but we are trying really hard to change that now. It's weird to think of Mum and Aunt Janine as sisters growing up together. I guess they had their troubles, just like Oliver and I do. I look up at her and smile. Well, I think it's good. She smiles back. Me too. Aunt Janine? Yes, Tilly? This new life doesn't really feel like it fits, especially for Ollie. Aunt Janine looks surprised. Then she leans across and squeezes my shoulder. It might not feel comfortable right now, but it will. I look down at the shopping bag by my feet. Like new shoes? Aunt Janine gathers up our rubbish. Always think positive, Tilly, and things will work out just fine. She pushes back her chair. Come on, we've got more shopping to do. I pick up the bag with my new shoes in it. What for? A swimsuit and goggles, of course. I pause for a moment, frowning. But isn't the pool shut for repairs? Aunt Janine laughs as she puts our rubbish in the bin. What did I say about positive thinking? It won't be shut forever, will it? Now, are you going to choose a swimsuit? Or should I pick one for you? I was thinking maybe something cute, pink and frilly. No, what kind of baby does Aunt Janine think I am? When Aunt Janine laughs, she sounds like a kookaburra. I'm only pulling your leg, Tilly. Now that I know she's only joking, I laugh too. I float out of the shopping center, swinging two large bags. One has my school shoes in it. The other has an aqua two-piece bathing suit with matching goggles. On the way back to the car, we pass by a travel shop. In its window is a giant photograph of coral reef. You can see an island at the top, but the bottom half of the picture is completely underwater. There are lots of colorful fish and different types of coral. There is a stand by the door with aqua-colored brochures that say, Visit Rainbow Island. Aunt Janine takes one and puts it in her bag. I tap on the glass, showing Aunt Janine a huge black, white, and yellow fish. That's a Moorish idol, and that's a blue tang. I point to a beautiful blue fish with black markings and a bright yellow tail. It's a type of surgeonfish. See the spike near its tail? It's super sharp. Aunt Janine looks impressed. I point out 3 different kinds of starfish and tell Aunt Janine that if a starfish loses an arm, it just grows another one. Do you know what this is? Aunt Janine points to a small, sausage-shaped black creature on the sandy bottom. A sea cucumber, of course. Did you know that they breathe in and out of their bottoms? Aunt Janine raises an eyebrow. I tap one of the starfish photos. Did you also know that a starfish can vomit its own stomach out of its mouth to digest its food, then suck it back in again like this? I give her a demonstration with full sound effects. Aunt Janine laughs so loud that a family walking by turn around and stare at us. No, Tilly, I did not know that, but thanks for sharing. I grin. You're welcome. I know lots of other fish facts if you want to hear them. I'm writing a book called Marine Creatures. It might even get published one day. Aunt Janine winks. I would love to see that. A warm, glowing feeling spreads through me again. Aunt Janine is right. Thinking positive feels good. Okay, when we get home, I'll show you my aqua journal. And that was chapter 15. So what did Aunt Janine and Tilly get up to? Chapter 16. We're back. Aunt Janine locks the front door behind us. I race down the hallway into the kitchen. But Mum isn't there. Neither is Ollie. I poke my head into the lounge room, but it's empty too. I want to show Mum my new swimmers and goggles. Actually, I have a better idea. Instead of pulling them out of the bag, I'll put the swimmers on and the goggles on. And my new school shoes at the same time. That'll really make her laugh. She might even take a photo that I can send to Helen. I head down the hall with my shopping bags, and then stop. Colors from the stained glass window are flickering into the hall. My bedroom door is open. I definitely closed it before I left. Oliver wouldn't have been in my room. I told Mum to keep him out. Maybe the wind blew the door open. I get a strange feeling in the pit of my stomach. I look back down the hall towards the kitchen. Where is Mum anyway? At the doorway, I freeze. My books are strewn across the floor and scattered between them are tiny twists of white paper, like snowflakes. My heart thumps in my chest. Slowly, I bend down to pick one up. My hands are shaking. but I managed to untwist it. Colored pencil, pink, white, orange, with black around the edges. I feel sick. My head is spinning. No, 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 no. Please don't let it be my aqua journal. My eyes swim with tears. I scramble onto my belly and reach under the bed. I pat the carpet frantically, hoping to feel a soft, familiar cover of my aqua journal. But there's nothing there. I sit up, and that's when I see it. A thin strip of aqua-colored ribbon. The cover of my aqua journal is bent backwards. Inside the pages are torn and tattered. Some have been ripped out completely. I can't tell which fact was which. My sentences have been cut short, my words made meaningless. I flip through what is left of my work. Half a Spanish dancer, the head of a parrotfish, a few pink tentacles of sea anemone. I hear a terrible scream, but it's not Oliver. It's me. Aunt Janine comes running. Mum rushes in behind her, carrying Oliver on her hip. She looks bleary-eyed, as if she's just woken up. Her new hairdo is plastered to one side of her face. The ball of anger in my throat is huge. Suddenly, it's rushing out of me. Like a tidal wave that can't stop, I lunge at Oliver, my fists flailing. I hate you! Oliver's arms wrap around his head. He screws his eyes shut and starts to shriek. I keep shouting at him, knowing the loud noise hurts him. I want to make him suffer like I am suffering. Mum wraps her arm around him protectively and staggers backwards out of the room. Tilly! Tilly! Aunt Janine tries to pull me in close. I crumple to my knees, and then the tears come. Aunt Janine crouches down beside me. We'll get you some new ones. We can replace them, Tilly. It's all right. She thinks I'm upset about the books. Not those books! I sob, shaking what's left of my aqua journal. This book. My book. Look what he's done. Little bits of paper flutter to the floor. I grab at them, but they fall through my fingers like confetti. Mum comes rushing back into the room, without Oliver this time. She kneels down beside me and tries to gather up the little pieces of my aqua journal. I scramble to my feet. It's your fault! I scream, jabbing my fingers at her. You were supposed to be watching him! I'm sorry, Tilly. Mum looks up at me pleadingly. He had a meltdown about my hair again. I fell asleep settling him. He must have got up again and come into your room. I don't care about her excuses. I told you I needed a lock for my room. We'll put one on today. It's too late, I shriek, shoving the journal at her. He's ruined everything. There's nothing left to lock in. Tilly, Aunt Janine raises a voice. I know Oliver wouldn't have meant to. I whip around. What would you know? You don't know anything about Oliver or me. Aunt Janine stares at me in shock. I turn back to Mum. Everything's always about Oliver. The look of pain in her face spurs me on. It's like I'm invisible to you. Tilly, Mum pleads. The two of you mean more to me than anything else in the world. That's why we moved here, for a better life. I liked my old life. I never wanted to move here. It's made Oliver worse. It's made everything worse. Mum opens her mouth to speak, but I keep on yelling. I hate this place. I hate Oliver and I hate you. The mug I painted for her is still sitting on the bedside table. I pick it up and hurl it against the wall as hard as I can. It explodes, shattering into a zillion tiny pieces that bounce around the room. Suddenly, it's quiet. Aunt Janine is frozen with shock. Slowly, she puts her hand to her face. When she pulls it away, there's blood. Oh my God! Mum rushes over to her. My stomach grips with fear. I don't know what to do, so I turn and I run. I run past Aunt Janine and Mum. I run down the hallway and through the kitchen. I run past Oliver, who scrambles under the table in terror. I unlock the door and fling it open so hard it bangs against the wall. The stupid owl hoots as I fly down the front steps. I run across the grass, tripping over the hose and landing on my knees. Angrily, I pull off my thongs and fling them away. Ibis stagger out of my way and a flock of cockatoos take off squawking as I scramble to my feet and keep on running. For a second, I think I hear the owl hooting again, but I don't look back. Nobody calls after me, anyway. I keep running until my feet hit the pavement. Where should I run to? I don't know anyone here. There's only one place I can think of to go. The river. And that was chapter 16. Now, what happened to Tilly that made her so upset? What did she lose? Or what happened to something important to her? Chapter 17. It's quiet by the river. I didn't think I would remember how to get here, but it turned out to be easy. The water is calm and clear, not brown and swirling like it was a few days ago. I throw a stone into the shallows and watch it sink to the bottom. Sweat trickles down my back. The soles of my feet are scratched and bruised from running barefoot on the road. I think about dipping them in cool water, but then I remember what Aunt Janine said about freshwater crocodiles. Maybe she was pulling my leg, but maybe she wasn't. I decide it's better not to risk it. Aunt Janine was right about the mango trees though. There are heaps of them all along the footpath, and they're huge. The branches are heavy with fruit. Rotten mangoes cover the ground, oozing their sticky juice. A woman nearby is collecting them in a plastic shopping bag. The playground Aunt Janine mentioned is a bit further along the path. It looks huge. I'd like to check it out, but there's a family having a picnic and they might wonder what I'm doing here on my own. If I told them the truth, that I'd run away, they might call the police. Then I'd be sent back to Aunt Janine's. And I can't go back there now, not after everything that's happened. The family finishes eating. The mother is holding the baby and the father is pushing the other two children on swings. After a few minutes, the boy and the girl get off the swings and run towards the slide. Soon, they are playing a game that looks like it has something to do with pirates. I wonder what it would have been like to have a brother I could play imaginary games with. I guess I'll never know. If Oliver were here, he would want me to push him on the swing. Well, he would have before. I don't know if he will ever go near me again. When I think about how he scrambled out of my way in terror, I feel heavy with shame. I feel bad about what I said to Aunt Janine too, especially after she took me out for lunch and bought me swimmers and goggles. The truth is, I really like Aunt Janine, and I didn't mean what I said about her not knowing us. I really wish I hadn't thrown the mug at the wall. I wonder if her face needs stitches. She might be at the hospital right now. I wouldn't blame Aunt Janine if she did want to leave us. Then I think of Mum's tired face. A huge lump rises in my throat. I told Mum I hated her. I swallow hard. I wouldn't blame her if she hated me too. I bet they all do now. That's why I can't ever go back. Not even to say how sorry I am. It all feels too big to fix. I rub the sides of my head and think about my books, my poster and my aqua journal. Everything precious I had is gone. I'll probably never learn to swim. I'll live beside the Great Barrier Reef and I'll never even see below the surface of the water. I can forget about being a famous marine scientist, and I can forget about living on my own boat too. Plop, plop, plop. I throw stones and watch them sink. My body feels so heavy that even if I could swim, I reckon I'd sink straight to the bottom too. That is, if I didn't get eaten by a crocodile first. There's a rustle in the reeds, and I almost jump out of my skin. But it's just a dog, covered in mud and panting. It sniffs at my leg. I hear a sharp whistle and turn around. Lovely afternoon. A man is walking on the path, carrying a fishing rod and a tackle box. The dog bounds over and circles him, tail wagging. I smile and nod. I don't want to walk to him. If he asks what I'm doing here on my own, I won't know what to say. Also, I don't know him. He might be crazy. Luckily, he keeps on walking, and the dog races off ahead of him. I breathe a sigh of relief. My tummy rumbles. Then I remember the mango collecting woman. Maybe there are some leftover mangoes I can eat. I limp over to the spot where I saw her and pick up one off the ground. I turn it over to make sure it isn't rotten. Then I hold it to my nose and breathe in deeply. It smells delicious. I want to find a place to eat it, somewhere I can't be seen. If I were a flatfish, I'd just change my color and pattern to blend into my surroundings. Too bad I'm not. I look around and spot a large shady tree right by the water. It's the perfect hiding place. Its trunk is wide enough that nobody can see me from the path. I bite into the mango and peel back the skin. Then I sink my teeth into it. The juice dribbles down my chin and onto my shirt. The mango was delicious, but now I'm thirsty. The playground will have a water fountain, but the family are still there. I'll wait. I lean up against the tree. My full tummy and the heat of the afternoon are making me sleepy. My arms and legs feel like they're made of concrete. I watch a pair of dragonflies hover above the water until my eyes get so heavy I can't keep them open anymore. When I open my eyes again, it's much cooler. The last few rays of the sun are slipping behind the rooftops on the other side of the river. I leap up, slapping at the mosquitoes on my arms and legs. A group of ducks I didn't even know were there waddle off in panic, splashing one by one into the dark water. I think about crocodiles and edge away from the riverbank. There's a rustle in the branches above me, and I jump, but it's just a colony of bats stirring. I remember what Aunt Janine told me about them roosting here during the day. They're probably getting ready for a night of feasting on mangoes. The sun has disappeared now, and so has the family. I head over to the playground and take a long, cool drink from the water fountain. There is no sign of the man and his dog, or anyone else. Suddenly, I feel very alone, and more than a little bit afraid. My heartbeat quickens. It's getting dark, and I can see the moon. I have no shoes, so I need to be careful where I step. There might be snakes, or spiders, or something brushes past my face and I scream. Then I run. I don't even feel the pain in my feet. I sprint back along the path, past my hiding place, past the line of mango trees until I find a set of stairs I had to run down earlier. I leap up them two at a time. The street lights are a relief from the darkness of the riverbank. I rest against one, bent over double, gasping for breath. And that's when I hear the helicopter. And that was chapter 17. Now, if you were in Tilly's position, would you ever do something like that? Also, how do you think Aunt Janine, Oliver, and Mom are reacting to this whole situation at the moment? How do you think they might feel about Tilly just running off and still not have come home by this time? Do you think they might be worried? Chapter 18. It starts as a low rumble and gets louder. I stick my fingers in my ears and I look up. The helicopter is flying very low. I'm glad Oliver is not here. He would hate the noise it's making. I turn around and watch the helicopter as it hovers near the river. There's a great white beam shining down from it now. Slowly, it moves back and forth like a searchlight. The helicopter must be looking for something. Or someone. Suddenly, my stomach flips. What if it's looking for me? I'm not exactly lost. But then, Mom doesn't know that. It's not like I stopped to tell them where I was going. I guess she'll be starting to worry about me, now that it's dark. Maybe she's even called the police. But a helicopter? No, it must be looking for someone else. Or maybe it's doing some sort of training exercise. But the weird feeling in my gut tells me it's not either of those things. I know I have to go back. I start jogging up the street. If the police are looking for me, Mom will be furious with me for the fuss I've caused. Aunt Janine probably will be too, and so will the police for wasting their time. But if it turns out the police are looking for someone else, I still have to face Mum and Aunt Janine, and what I did. Maybe it's better just to stay away. I stand in the middle of the road, fiddling with the key around my neck. Suddenly, my stomach turns cold. The front door! Did I lock it behind me? I try to retrace my steps. I ran out of my room. I unlocked the front door. I remember it banging against the wall. Then what? I tripped over a hose. But did I lock the front door behind me? Did I? My stomach fills with dread. Terrible thoughts begin to flash through my mind. Oliver finding the door unlocked. Oliver walking alone on the road. Oliver getting hit by a car. Oliver getting taken away by a stranger. Ollie curled up in the dark alone, hurt and afraid. I turn and run, pumping my arms and legs as hard as I can. God, I plead silently, don't let Ollie be missing. I didn't mean it when I said I hated him. I'll never complain about anything ever again. I won't nag Mum about swimming lessons. I'll be a better daughter, a better sister, a better niece. I'll say sorry to everyone, including the police. I'll do anything you want. God, just please make sure my brother is safe at home when I get there. I turn into Hibiscus Avenue. There are flashing red and blue lights up ahead. A few doors down from Aunt Janine's house, a crowd of rubberneckers has gathered. I manage to slip past them unnoticed. I crouch behind the next door neighbor's tree. There are 2 police cars parked on Aunt Janine's front lawn, and another one on the street. An officer is leaning against it with his back to me. He is talking on his radio. I strain my ears to hear what he is saying. I only catch 3 words: boy, autistic, 8. But they are enough. I know who the helicopter is looking for. I sprint across the lawn, between the police cars. I can't feel my feet anymore. I can't feel my body anymore. Everything looks blurry. I stumble up the front steps and hammer on the door with my fists. It opens, and I fall straight into a pair of uniformed arms. And that was chapter 18. So how is Tilly feeling at the moment? And what about Oliver? How do you think he might be feeling? What do you think he might be seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, or hearing? Do you think Aunt Janine was prepared for any of this? Alright, chapter 19. Senior Constable Smith offers me a tissue. I scrunch it into a ball and I stare at it. I'm afraid to meet her eyes. She must think I'm a terrible person for running away. Would you like some water, Tilly? She asks. When I look up at her, a wave of relief washes over me. She has a pretty face and kind eyes, the same green as Mum's. I nod. Her partner, Constable Taylor, hands me the glass and I gulp the water down gratefully. Then I hand it back to him and I pull the blanket they have given me around my shoulders. I can't seem to stop shivering. I'm glad you're back, Tilly, Senior Constable Smith says gently. And I know your mum is too. She nods towards the doorway where Mum is now standing. I don't feel ready to face Mum or Aunt Janine. Mum's eyes are red and swollen, and her new hairdo is a mess. I stand up, unsure of what to say or do. Then Mum walks over and throws her arms around me. Her shoulders are shaking. I feel wetness on my shirt, and realize she is crying. We both are. Thank God, Tilly. Thank God. She gasps in between sobs. Mum is holding me so tight I can barely breathe, but somehow it feels good. I'm sorry, Mum, I blurt out. I didn't lock the door. Mum holds me at arm's length and looks right into my eyes. Tilly, it's not your fault. We all make mistakes. I didn't put a lock on your door when I should have. I'm very sorry about your journal. I know it meant a lot to you. I realize suddenly that I haven't thought about my aqua journal at all since I saw the helicopter. I haven't thought about any of my books about sea creatures either. Nothing that was precious to me before seems important now that Oliver is missing. I manage a small smile. It's okay, Mum. We sit down together on the lounge. Constable Taylor offers us a whole box of tissues this time. I take a few and blow my nose. My eyes feel tired and swollen. My throat is sore from crying. Through the blinds, I can see that the lights on the police cars are still flashing. I stare at them until the blue and red start to blur, and I can see purple in between them. I blink my eyes a few times until they clear. Where's Aunt Janine? I ask Mum. Making tea for the officers. She pauses. There's a whole squad out there still looking for Ollie. Her face crumples and her shoulders start to shake again. Senior Constable Smith puts a hand on Mum's shoulder. Then she looks across at me. Would you like to see your aunt now, Tilly? I nod. Constable Taylor disappears into the hall, and a few minutes later, Aunt Janine comes in quietly behind him. There's a bandage across her cheek. I swallow hard. Tilly, it's good to see you. She wraps her arms around me and hugs me tightly. I'm sorry, I whisper. Does it hurt? Anjani touches her cheek and shakes her head. It's nothing. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. There's a knock on the lounge room door, and another officer pokes his head in. Senior Sarge is here, he tells the other two officers. Senior Constable Smith nods. A large officer with a different, more formal shirt walks in. He takes off his hat, and I notice he is completely bald. I'm Senior Sergeant Fawcett. He smiles at me, and then leans across to shake Mum's and Anjani's hand. I'm sorry we have to meet under such difficult circumstances, but please know that my officers and I are doing everything we can to find Oliver. Mum nods her head, unable to speak. Anjani rubs her back. Senior Sergeant Fawcett sits down on the edge of a chair. I need to go over a few questions with you, just to double-check some facts. Is this really necessary? Anjani interrupts, looking at Mum with a worried expression. We've told everything to the other officers already, Senior Sergeant. No, Mum squeezes Anjani's hand. It's all right. She blows her nose again and smooths down her skirt. What time did you last see Oliver? Senior Sergeant Fawcett begins. Mum fiddles with the tissue. I'm not sure of the exact time, but I think it must have been after 4 p.m. Senior Sergeant Fawcett writes this down in his notebook. And Oliver was wearing nothing when he disappeared, is that correct? Mum clears her throat. Yes, that's correct. Ollie's autistic, Anjani explains. He often takes off his clothing, especially when he is upset. I understand. And what upset him before his disappearance? I swallow hard. It's my fault, I croak. My eyes are welling up again, but I have to be brave and tell him what happened next. Oliver ruined something I loved, so I shouted at him and then I ran away. I think I left the front door open. I remember hearing the owl hoot again as I left. I think he might have followed me out. I look at Anjani, who is touching her bandage. I smashed a cup. I continue in a small voice. A piece of it hit Anjani's face. It was only a tiny cut, Anjani explains. She looks at Mum, but because there was a bit of blood, Dana came over to help me. We thought Oliver was in the kitchen. Senior Sergeant Fawcett nods. And how long do you think he'd be gone before you realized? Mum rubs her eyes. I don't know. Maybe 5 minutes? We searched the house and the yard straight away, Anjani tells him. We searched the neighbors' yards and across the street. And that's when we decided to call the police. Senior Sergeant Fawcett writes that down too. And you can't think of anywhere he might have gone? A friend's place, perhaps? Or a particular playground he likes to visit? Mum shakes her head. We only just moved here. We don't really know anyone else. And Oliver has only been on one short car ride. I clear my throat. He might have gone to the river. Ollie loves water, even though he can't swim, I add quietly. Senior Sergeant Fawcett nods. We have the water police patrolling the river already. Does Oliver have any other disabilities, like impaired vision or hearing loss? He has excellent eyesight, Mum tells him. He's non-verbal, but he can understand some words, and he knows a bit of sign language. His hearing is really good, I add, thinking of the rubbish truck. He hears things long before we do. Senior Sergeant Fawcett goes on to ask Mum more questions that don't really seem important. I start to feel frustrated. I wish he would stop asking questions and actually go out there and find my brother. Finally, he stands up and tucks his notebook into his pocket. Mum, Anjani, and I all look up at him expectantly. In my experience, children don't tend to stray too far from home, but with Oliver being young, autistic, and out on his own in the dark, we won't be taking any chances. We already have plenty of officers on the ground. He pauses. We got the chopper out and the water police. I'll put out the word to the community too. With any luck, we'll find him hiding in someone's backyard. Do you have a recent photo of Oliver that you'd be happy to have shown on television or online? Mum disappears and returns a moment later with the photo of Ollie and me washing up dishes together. The one we had on our fridge back home. Senior Sergeant Fawcett looks at the photo and then tucks it into his pocket beside the notebook. Senior Constable Smith and Constable Taylor will keep you updated. Try to get some rest and perhaps something to eat. I'll be in touch soon. How could I possibly eat or drink anything? My little brother is out there in the dark, alone, naked, and probably terrified out of his mind. And it's all because of me. Alright, that was chapter 19. And a simple question. How do you think all of the family members will be feeling at the moment? What kind of thoughts do you think might be running through their heads about Oliver? Chapter 20. Ollie is still missing. I try not to look at the clock, but all I can hear is the sound of it ticking. As the seconds, minutes, hours pass by, the panic in my chest grows. Why haven't they found him yet? Senior Constable Smith tells us there are lots of officers on the ground looking for Oliver, and that the helicopter has a special camera that can see in the dark. She says there are boats going up and down the river, searching for him too. Constable Taylor tells us that they've done a call out to the local media and that Oliver's photo should be all over the TV and the internet by now. But even with all of that, they still haven't actually found him. And what if they don't? A huge lump rises in my throat. It's my fault. I was the one who ran off because of a stupid journal. I was the one who left the door open. If only I had turned around when I heard the owl hooting, I'd have seen him. I'd have taken him back inside. I can't stand this anymore. Why don't we just go out there and look for him ourselves? Aunt Janine shakes her head. The police are experts when it comes to missing people, Tilly. They know what they are doing. But if he hears me or Mum, then I stop. Oliver could be too far away to hear our voices, and even if he did hear us, he doesn't like shouting of any kind. Besides, Mum's new hairstyle would spook him. The phone rings, and Mum flies off the lounge. We all hold our breath, but it's only Mum's old boss from the bakery, who has heard that Ollie is missing. No, they haven't found him yet. Mum's voice wavers. Suddenly, she lets out a wail that sends a shiver down my spine. Senior Constable Smith gently takes the phone from her, and Aunt Janine guides Mum back to the lounge. She wraps her arms around Mum as she wails, rocking her, telling her it's going to be all right, that they'll find Oliver. But her face is as white as Mum's. Senior Constable Smith and Constable Taylor are standing across the room, talking in hushed voices. I strain my ears to hear them over the sound of Mum sobbing. Constable Taylor's voice is low, but I can catch the word, divers. I frown. Why on earth would they be talking about scuba diving? Suddenly, my stomach lurches. They're not talking about the Great Barrier Reef. They're talking about searching the river. The room starts to spin. I feel like I'm going to be sick. Then, Constable Taylor says something about a dog squad. The words are out of my mouth before I can stop them. But Oliver is terrified of dogs. Both officers stop talking and look at me. So do Mum and Aunt Janine. Don't worry, Constable Taylor assures all of us. The dogs are on leads, and the handlers will be keeping them well under control. I shake my head. Even hearing a dog bark is enough to make Ollie freak out. Panic flashes across Mum's face. What if he runs? Both officers glance at each other. I can tell what they're thinking. That their team of dogs might actually be driving Oliver further away from home. I turn to Senior Constable Smith. Will they shout his name? She looks at me and nods. Yes, they will. I put my head in my hands. He won't respond to his name. He hates shouting. The chopper will frighten him too. So will the sound of all the sirens. I imagine him crouched down with his arms around his head, desperately trying to block out all the noise. Senior Constable Smith turns to Constable Taylor. Call Senior Sergeant Fawcett. Sergeant Fawcett sits down and pulls out his notebook. I grit my teeth. We haven't got time to play 1,000 questions again. We need to find Ollie. Quickly, I tell him what I told Senior Constable Smith and Constable Taylor. I want to tell him all the other things about Oliver too. How he likes songs and water and the noise of the rubbish truck. But I know there isn't time. Senior Sergeant Fawcett is scribbling like mad. He can hardly keep up with me. He looks up at Mum. And you think it's likely he will run? Mum shakes her head. I don't know. I suppose he could, if he's frightened enough. I think back to the waiting room in the city when Ollie heard the dog barking. How he crouched down low with his arms over his head, trying to block out the sound. He does the same thing when he sees a dog in the street. I clear my throat. I don't think so. When Ollie is afraid, he wraps his arm around his head and crouches down low. I think he is more likely to hide somewhere. Mum looks at me in surprise. You're right. I should know that. I'm sorry. I just can't seem to think straight. What with... Her voice breaks into a sob. It's okay, Mum. I hug her reassuringly. That's what we are all here for, to help. Aunt Janine presses my shoulder. We sure are. Thank you. That's valuable information. Senior Sergeant Fawcett stands up. From what you've told me, it seems likely that Oliver is hiding somewhere nearby. If we can eliminate some of the noise, he might feel safe enough to come out on his own. I'm going to make some calls. I'll be out in the hall if you need me. I'm glad that what I have told him will help with the search. But even if they call off the dog squad, the chopper, and stop all the shouting and sirens, Oliver will probably still be too afraid to come out from wherever he is hiding. And he could be hiding anywhere. The police might be experts when it comes to missing people, but they are not experts when it comes to Ollie. We are. I picture my brother's face, pale and smooth, with eyes so blue and so deep I could never touch the bottom. I have to try to do that, to reach him. If I were Ollie and the noises stopped, what would make me want to come out again? Mum blows her nose loudly. Constable Taylor turns to me. Is there a bin in the kitchen, Tilly? He asks, nodding at the growing pile of tissues by Mum's feet. For the rubbish? I stare at him for a moment. Then I leap to my feet, startling Mum and Aunt Janine. Constable Taylor looks worried. Tilly, he calls after me. Are you all right? But I'm already out the door. I haven't got time to explain. I need to speak to Senior Sergeant Fawcett. A rubbish truck? Senior Sergeant Fawcett frowns. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Tilly. I explain it to him again, and this time it comes out a lot clearer. Waiting for the rubbish truck every Saturday is one of Ollie's favorite things to do. He knows the sound it makes off by heart. He hears them long before we do. If he hears the rubbish truck going up and down our street, he might come out from wherever he's hiding. Senior Sergeant Smith looks doubtful. What if he's too far away to hear it? This is what I'm afraid of. But then I remember what Aunt Janine said to me at the shopping center. I have to think positive. I swallow hard. I know my brother, and he is more likely to hide than run. You said yourself that in most cases, kids don't stray too far from home. Ollie's hearing is better than anyone's. If he is nearby, he will hear the rubbish truck. And if he can hear the rubbish truck, I know he will come out to see it. It's an interesting idea, Tilly, but... I hear a noise behind me and turn around. Mum has followed me out into the hall and heard every word. Her cheeks are stained with tears, but her eyes are shining. No, Senior Sergeant, it's a brilliant idea. Now that was chapter 20. Oliver is missing. What plans have Aunt Janine, Mum, and Tilly come up with to find Oliver? What have they suggested to the sergeants to help find Oliver? What have they suggested to stop doing and start doing? Alright, chapter 21. Senior Sergeant Fawcett rubs his bald head. Miss Roberts, I'm not sure you understand. At this stage in our search, every minute is crucial. I know this is his polite way of saying he thinks it's a crazy idea. Mum swallows hard. I am well aware of how long my son has been missing, Senior Sergeant, but I also know that no amount of officers, dogs, boats, or helicopters have been able to find him so far. Tilly knows Oliver better than anyone. If she thinks the sound of a rubbish truck might bring Oliver out from wherever he is hiding, then I think we should try it. Something warm flickers inside me. Senior Sergeant Fawcett looks thoughtful. Finally, he stands up. He looks from Mum to me, and then pulls out his mobile phone. Mum, Aunt Janine, and I follow Senior Sergeant Fawcett, and both constables down the front steps. The owl hoots like... crazy as we file past. We cross the lawn and gather on the footpath in the moonlight. Then we wait. It's so quiet out here now. The sirens and the flashing lights have been switched off. The helicopter is gone and nobody is shouting Oliver's name. I strain my ears, trying to catch the first sounds of the rubbish truck. For once, Ollie isn't here to let me know. I'm glad Senior Sergeant Fawcett listened to me. If Ollie is nearby, I know that he will be relieved that all the noises have stopped, and more importantly, he will be able to hear the truck. Across the road, some neighbors are talking in a huddle. I glare at them. Rubberneckers. Why don't they mind their own business? Then I recognize the two kids that I saw a few days ago standing with them. The red-braided girl isn't wearing swimmers though. She's in her pajamas this time. Aunt Janine sees me staring at them and squeezes my shoulder. "What are they all doing here?" I hiss. Aunt Janine looks at me with surprise. "They care, Tilly. They know Oliver is my nephew, and they are worried about him too." That takes me by surprise. I never thought that they might actually care about him. I just thought they were being nosy. There's a low rumble. We all turn towards the sound. A rubbish truck rolls up the street much faster than it should. It reaches the top of the street and turns, heading back towards us. "It's going too fast," I tell Senior Sergeant Fawcett. He waves at it, and it screeches to a halt outside our house. Senior Sergeant Fawcett steps up and speaks with the driver. When the truck takes off again, it looks and sounds like an actual rubbish truck, instead of a racing truck. We all watch in silence as the truck completes a second lap up and down the street. But something isn't right. It's only making the rumble. Then it hits me. The bins! There is no screeching of brakes, no clunk 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 of bins being picked up and emptied, and no shh as they are placed back on the curb. Oliver needs to hear all of those sounds to know it's rubbish day. I run down the street, shouting at the top of my lungs, "Everybody, put your bins out, please! Put your bins out quickly!" While the huddle of adults all stand and stare at me, the red-headed girl and her brother take off running. They disappear around the side of the house and reappear a moment later, dragging a wheelie bin between them. Mum and Aunt Janine have realized that the bins are just as important as the rubbish truck too. They run up and down knocking on doors, asking everyone on the street to put their bins out. Soon, the whole street is alive with excited chatter and the rumbling noises of the bins being dragged down to the curb in the dark. When every house has a bin out front, the chatter dwindles to a hush. The rubbish truck rumbles down the street. It screeches to a halt outside each house. There is a loud clunk, clunk, clunk as each bin is lifted and emptied, then a shah as it is placed back on the curb. I close my eyes. Yes, now it sounds exactly like rubbish day back home. There is nothing to do now but wait and hope. The truck rumbles along the street and back up the other side until every bin is empty. People are coming out of their houses with more rubbish for the truck to collect as it begins the second lap of the street. But after the third lap, there is nothing more to bring out. The driver keeps going, emptying the already bins. Half an hour passes by, then an hour. People are getting restless now. The neighbors peer up and down the street, gathering in huddles and speaking in whispers. I know what they're thinking, that my idea is not working, that the police shouldn't have listened to me. What if they're right? What if Oliver is too far away to hear the rubbish truck? Or what if it's already too late? I think of divers searching the cold, dark river, pulling a small, soaked body out of the water. Panic rises in my chest again. I shake the image off my mind. Ollie has to be nearby. He will hear the rubbish truck, and when he hears it, I know he will come. The truck does a few more laps, but there is no sign of Ollie. Then it's been another hour, then 3 hours. Many people have gone back into their homes. Even the nice girl with the red braid has gone, probably to bed. The truck driver pulls over, and Senior Sergeant Fawcett crosses the street to talk to him again. Anjanine is crying now. She and Mum are holding each other. I squeeze my eyes shut, but tears seep through the closed lids and roll down my cheeks. Where are you, Ollie? It's rubbish day. The truck has come to empty the bins. I rub my tears away and open my eyes. The sky isn't black anymore, but bluish purple. The moon has gone. A bat flaps past us heavily on its way back to the river. It's almost dawn. And that was chapter 21. So what are they trying to do to find Oliver? Is it working? Do you think it will work? If you were in their position right now, what would you do? Chapter 22. Please, I beg Senior Sergeant Fawcett. We have to keep trying. Senior Constable Smith touches my arm gently. Tilly, she says quietly, it's not working. I'm so sorry, I bawl. Mum wraps her arms around me and hugs me tight. I say sorry over and over until my throat hurts. I'm sorry my idea didn't work. I'm sorry I shouted at my brother. I'm sorry I ran away and didn't lock the front door behind me. I'm sorry that it's Oliver still missing instead of me. I look down at the bright green grass, blurred through my tears, and think of Oliver's smile when we first drove into Townsville. The memory should bring a fresh flood of tears, but it doesn't. I feel numb. Mum starts rocking me gently, just like she always did with Oliver. Then I hear something. Mum stops moving. I shriek. Mum and I let go and stare at each other for a moment. We hear it again. I squint down the street to where the sky is just starting to lighten, and then I see it. A small silhouette running towards us on tiptoe. A cry escapes Mum, and we grab each other's hands. My heart leaps. I want to run, but I stop myself. I don't want to scare Oliver. I squeeze Mum's hand tightly, and we begin walking towards him, very, very slowly. As we draw closer, I can see that Oliver is scratched, bruised, and dirty. We crouch down beside him. Ollie, I whisper softly. Mum wraps her arms around his thin shoulders and holds him gently. Oliver's whole body is shaking. It's hard to tell if he is cold or afraid or both. Someone hands me a soft cotton blanket. I wrap around Ollie and draw him in close. Ollie's body starts to warm up and relaxes into mine. Mum gives a few sips from a bottle of water. Then she wraps her arms around both of us and starts humming Ollie's favorite song. For a while, it feels as though the three of us are the only people on the street. Then I realize that this is the longest Mum, Ollie, and I have ever hugged. In fact, I think my family has just set a brand new world record. Ollie reaches for my face. His fingers smell like earth. He traces my nose, my lips, and my cheeks. Then he brings his fingertips with my wet tears to his lips and flexes them. Water, he signs. Yes, Ollie, I laugh. Water! Water flows down my cheeks again, but this time it's the happy kind. I pull the edge of the blanket down. Look, I whisper, pointing. The rubbish truck is here. Ollie tries to stand up and Happy flap for the rubbish truck, but he is exhausted. Mum hoists him onto her hip and takes my hand. Oliver's wrists still flicker as his head rests on Mum's shoulder. Anjanine is standing nearby with the police officers and a few of our neighbors, who stayed up all night handing out tea and biscuits. Many of them are crying happy tears too. Anjanine joins us, and as we draw nearer to the rubbish truck, Ollie's hands start flapping more. Mum lets him touch the side of the truck and he squeals. I grin at Mum and start flapping my hands right along with him. I know how silly I look, but I don't care. Ollie is back, and this is how we can celebrate in a way that he understands too. Mum laughs and flaps her free hand. Then Aunt Janine joins in. I start to laugh. I can't help it. We all look so funny, like a great big flock of bin chickens. And that was chapter 22. So we found Oliver. He came back. Now, at any point, did you feel like maybe Oliver wasn't going to come back? Or maybe that it was hopeless? What did the author do to make it feel like that? Alright, Chapter 23. Have you got your goggles? Aunt Janine calls from the veranda. Yes. I wish Aunt Janine would hurry up. I don't want to be late for my very first swimming lesson. Finally, she locks the front door and heads towards the car with 3 towels slung over her shoulder. I've got the new aqua two-piece on underneath my dress. Ollie's strapped in the back, wearing nothing as usual. We arrive at the pool 15 minutes early. I'm having a private lesson with Kara. As we walk through the gates, I spot her in the office. Kara is kind of hard to miss. She has bright pink hair and more tattoos and earrings than I've ever seen on one person. She looks up and gives us a wave. Kara's parents live on our street, and Kara was visiting them the night Ollie went missing. As soon as she heard that my brother and I couldn't swim, she told her boss, who offered us free swimming lessons. It turned out that her boss needed someone to run the kiosk full-time too. You can. Probably guess who got the job. Mom was worried at first about Ollie being near the water. But then we met his instructor, Patrick. Patrick is trained to teach kids with special needs, like autism. Ollie doesn't usually like strangers, but he likes Patrick. They have already met a few times, so that they could get used to each other. Patrick isn't just a good teacher. He actually knows a lot about autism, because his sister is autistic, and he can beatbox. When Patrick makes funny noises with his mouth over and over again, Ollie flaps his hands with delight and tries to copy him. There have been other changes with Ollie too. A few days ago, when Aunt Janine offered him a piece of mango, he actually ate it. Ollie's new OT, Ellen, thinks it might have a lot to do with our moving here. Change is hard for anyone, especially kids with autism, she explained to Mum, but sometimes a brand new environment can actually stimulate growth and development. Patrick spots us arriving and comes straight over. Ollie starts flapping and bouncing up and down on tiptoe. I'm just going to the toilet, I announce. I already went at home, but the sign at the entrance does tell you to go to the bathroom before you enter the water. As I head for the change rooms, 100 pairs of butterfly fish start swimming around my stomach. It might be the smell of fresh paint from the renovations they did last week. But suddenly, I feel like I am going to eject my stomach out of my mouth, like a starfish. I've wanted to learn to swim for so long, but now that the big day is here, I'm more nervous than a cloud of plankton surrounded by a pod of whales. What if I can't do it? What if the teacher tries her best, but I'm just no good at swimming? Maybe I don't really want to learn to swim after all. But then I think of my aqua journal. Of all the amazing reef creatures I might never get to see in real life, unless I learn to swim. I want to be able to snorkel the reef and see a Spanish dancer. I want to spot a clownfish hiding in an anemone and see a sea cucumber breathing out of its bottom. And I need to take pictures, because as well as featuring drawings, my new book about marine creatures is going to be full of photos that I have taken myself. I take a long, deep breath and let it out slowly. If you think positive, everything will work out fine. When I come back out, Oliver is wearing his swimmers. He and Patrick are already paddling around in the toddler pool. Aunt Janine is chatting with Kara. I guess it's my turn now. I slip off my dress and stuff it into the bag by Aunt Janine's feet. Hi, Tilly, Kara grins. Ready? I smile shyly and swing my goggles. I guess so. Aunt Janine hands me a towel and kisses me on the cheek. Break a leg? I grin at her and shake my head. I need both of my legs to swim. Kara laughs and we head over to the big pool together. We sit at the edge of the pool for a while, dipping our legs. The water feels nice. Kara tells me that the water is always warm here, even in winter. Kara asks me a lot of questions about marine creatures. I tell her all kinds of interesting facts, but after a while, the sun is feeling really hot, and all I can think of is getting in the water. I look down and imagine the water filled with coral and brightly colored fish. Kara smiles at me. Ready to hop in? It's as if she's reading my mind. We get in at the steps where the water is only waist deep. It feels okay so far. I put on my goggles and look across to the toddler pool. Patrick and Oliver are lying on their bellies like a pair of crocodiles. Ollie is kicking up a storm. I look back towards the kiosk, expecting Mum and Aunt Janine to be watching him. I'm surprised to find that they are both watching me. Aunt Janine waves. Mum gives me a double thumbs up from behind the cash register. A warm feeling spreads through my chest. Kara tells me to try putting my shoulders under. So I do. The water isn't cold at all, but I shiver with excitement. I tell her that I already know how to put my face in the water and blow bubbles. Then I prove it. When I come back up, Kara looks impressed. In the next half hour, I learn to float on my back, and soon I am shooting across the pool on a kickboard. Kara asks me if I want to take a break. No way, I tell her. By the end of the hour, I'm gliding to her with my face in the water and trying to remember to kick at the same time. Kara gives me a high five. Amazing start, Tilly. A bit more practice and we'll have you swimming like a fish in no time. With the fish? I remind her. Kara grins. Hey, the way you're going, you might even turn into a fish. I head over to the toddler pool, feeling like I'm walking on air. If there's a world record for the best swimming lesson ever, I reckon I've just broken it. Ollie's crouched over the drains at the side of the pool with Patrick. They both have their ears to the grate, listening to the water swish in and out. It sounds like the sea. Funny how I never really noticed that before. I guess that's one of the things I like about Ollie. He makes me look at ordinary things in a brand new way. Water, water, Patrick repeats over and over again. Water, Oliver signs. Mum must have seen that I finished my lesson, because the next thing I know, her arms are around me, squeezing me tight. I'm so proud of you, Tilly. I'm proud of me too. Mum laughs and wipes her eyes. She holds out a parcel wrapped in aqua paper. It's just something small to say well done. I grin with surprise and tear off the paper. It's a fish poster. Well, kind of. It looks a bit like my fish poster, only it's smaller and there are several pages. It's kind of like a book held together by a metal ring, only it isn't made of paper. It's made of plastic, which makes it waterproof and Ollie-proof. Mum beams at me. It's a fish identification chart, so you don't have to remember all the names. You're supposed to take it with you when you go snorkeling or scuba diving. That's so cool! I hug her. Thanks! I sit down and flip through the chart. I spot several kinds of fish I know and even some species I've never heard of before. Suddenly, Oliver starts to shriek. I sit bolt upright, almost dropping my chart into the water. Oliver is flapping with frustration. He is almost making other noises, strange noises that I never heard before. Patrick is talking to him, but I can't hear what he is saying. Oliver is signing, "Water, water," over and over again. Patrick takes Oliver's hand gently and puts it against his mouth while he says the word again. Again, Oliver screams with frustration. Again, he tries to sign water, and Patrick takes his hand. "Ta!" he shrieks at last. "Ta, ta, ta! Water!" Mum, Aunt Janine and I stare at each other in disbelief. Ollie just said his very first word. And that was chapter 23. So what has Mum gotten Tilly? And what has Ollie done for the first time? Alright, chapter 24. I'm lying on the floor of my bedroom. Afternoon sun flickers through the stained glass window. I'm in my swimmers, but I've got my school shoes on too. I've been wearing them in so I don't get blisters when school starts. They aren't even rubbing on my heels anymore. The window is throwing colorful patterns onto the carpet. It's easy to imagine I am underwater, surrounded by colorful fish and coral. But soon, I won't need to imagine. This Saturday, we are catching a boat to Rainbow Island. Aunt Janine is going to teach me how to snorkel right off the beach. It turns out she used to snorkel a lot. She even has her own mask and flippers. Ollie can paddle in the water with Patrick, and Mum promised to take the camera so she can snap lots of photos of us all. I can't wait to send photos to Helen. She sent me an email yesterday with some photos of my neon tetras. There are 23 of them now. I guess they weren't all girls after all. Luckily, Helen managed to scoop the babies out and put them in a separate container before their parents ate them. There's a knock at the door, and Mum pokes her head in. "How was work?" I ask her. "Great, darling." Mum sits down on the floor beside me. I think she likes a new job. She doesn't look as tired anymore now that Ollie is sleeping better. It must be all the exercise we've been getting at the pool. How's your drawing going? Good. I push my new blue journal across and show Mum the page I've been working on. It's a reef scene. Mum leans in for a closer look. This one's pretty. She points to a striped fish with spikes that stick out in all directions. That's a Pteros volitans, or lionfish, I tell her, also known as featherfins, firefish, zebrafish, turkeyfish, or a scorpion cod. Wow! Mum looks impressed. And those two? That's a clownfish. And that's a sea anemone, I remind her. I explain how the two of them have a special relationship. They depend on each other. Mum looks at me and smiles. I can hear Ollie in the kitchen, screeching with delight. Aunt Janine must be feeding him mango. Mum checks her watch. I'd better get him ready for speech. Now that Mum finishes work at 3, she can take Ollie to therapy after school. That means no more therapy on weekends. It also means I don't have to go with them because Aunt Janine is here. Mum even got me a bike, so I will be able to ride home from school with Eve, the girl with the red braid who lives across the road. She's been at the pool almost every day too. We're going to be in the same grade. Are you still riding to the pool with Eve? I nod. Mum helps me pack up my books, which are spread out across the floor. When our neighbors heard what happened to my old books, they donated so many new books about ocean and marine life and the reef. Aunt Janine doesn't have enough shelf space to fit them all. Mum waits while I throw a dress over my swimmers and lock my bedroom door. Then we head down the hall together. I can hear hip-hop music coming from the kitchen. Patrick told Aunt Janine that since Oliver likes beatboxing, he might also like the sound of hip-hop. He was right. Ollie loves it. He even tries to copy the sounds. Sarah, his new speech therapist, says it is excellent for his speech development. It beats listening to toddler music any day. I dance across to the fridge and stop. Mum has put up a new photo, right beside the old one of us washing the dishes. Ollie and I are lying on our bellies in the toddler pool, looking like a pair of freshwater crocodiles. I'm looking right at the camera. Ollie isn't, of course. Both of us are laughing. I look from one photo to the other. So much has happened since the photo was taken. My hair looks lighter now. My arms and legs are browner. Ollie looks different too. Have you got sunscreen on? Mum asks me. It's hot out there. Yes. I take a juice box from the fridge and then grab another one for Eve. Take a bottle of water too, she adds. Ta-ta, Oliver reminds me. I grin at him. Don't worry, Ollie, I will. I tuck a bottle of water under my arm and I kiss the top of his head. Then I turn to Aunt Janine in surprise. Are those toast crumbs in his hair? Aunt Janine gives me a wink. I can't believe it. First mango, and now toast? What's next? Vegemite? I never thought I'd ever see our little monkey eat anything but yogurt and mashed bananas. But that's the thing about Oliver lately. He is full of surprises. Where's your helmet, Tilly? Mum asks suddenly. I throw the water bottle and juice boxes into my backpack. In the shed, and before you ask, I'll be sure to wear it properly. I grin at Aunt Janine, kiss Mum on the cheek, and sling my backpack over my shoulder. Make sure you ride on the footpath. Mum follows me to the door. And watch out for driveways. Okay. I jog down the front steps. The owl hoots as I step down to pick up a fallen frangipani flower. I hold it to my nose and inhale deeply, before tucking it behind my ear. Its warm, sweet smell is so familiar to me now. Oh, and Tilly, Mum calls from the veranda. I turn around and roll my eyes in mock exasperation. Yes? Mum smiles and blows me a kiss. Have a good swim. And that was The Thing About Oliver. So what were the themes of this book? What was it trying to teach us? Or what was it trying to tell us? Was there something new you learnt from this book? From hearing the story of Tilly, Tilly's mum, Oliver and Aunt Janine? Do you think it was trying to tell us about family? Or some other aspects of life? Maybe humans? What do you think? Anyways, that was The Thing About Oliver. If you liked this video, like and subscribe. Bye bye!